Earth 2020. Society is in ruins, and a virus runs rampant among the world's humble citizens. They are lost. In these dark times, three wayward nerds cross paths at the House of India and realize they are destined to be friends. And so they did. This is their story. The story of the Side Quest.
Welcome back to the Side Quest podcast. My name is BJ.
I'm Luke. This has got us all mixed around. Yeah, I'm Matt.
I'm Luke.
I'm Cody.
Here, pull that a little closer to you, so you don't have to lean.
Hey, there we go.
Oh, yeah. a little closer.
Like get up in there.
No. Now you can put your head back and relax.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah. Welcome back. Cody is in town, and we wanted to hang.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've already seen each other once for a crazy night.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Fire chicken. It was a good time.
It was. I know that we're just gonna, once we get into it, it's just not gonna stop. Like the conversation here, and already Cody and I talked so much Warhammer.
Yeah, you turned it on the way down in the truck, and I thought, oh man, dude, if he starts playing audiobooks in the truck, I'm just gonna have him run it, and then we'll never stop. Just
that's why I was like,
Keeble.
I only played like 5 seconds to show where I was.
Yeah.
And because I just finished Mortis, which is the 5th book. Now I'm on to the 6th one, which is Warhawk, which is Jagatai, and dude, it's just so good. It's so.
Yeah, you're getting close to the end though.
The end of the death,
dude. It pops off.
End of the death is technically what, 3 volumes considered the 8th book.
The 8th book in the Siege of Terra is also the 9th and the 10th book. So the Siege of Terra is a 10-book, 8-book finale to a 52-ish book, like 52.3 book. Series that is the Horus Heresy.
So last time when we did our intro to Warhammer, where I got a lot of stuff wrong, but I also got a lot of stuff right. In that video, we were all so drunk, and it was like a 2.5 hour podcast. I remember calling
Cody on the way to the store. We called Cody
in Discord as we were on our way to
pick up more beer.
No, we were going to Taco Bell because we just needed drunk food.
Yeah,
that's when Luke passed out on the sidewalk.
Yeah, he did. He said I had to go to the bathroom. Shit. So he as we were in the drive-thru, he walks out, and then as we finish going through the drive-thru, he's just sitting.
I'm sitting on the curb like this,
with his legs just out.
Shit. I was fucked up.
But it was really interesting listening to, I think it was last one that was out. You guys didn't realize that the Emperor was not on the chair yet, and I was like, yeah, they go to Horus's ship, Rogel, Sanguinius, and the Emperor, and they're like, how does the Emperor go? I go, he's not on the chair yet. That's how he gets in the chair.
Yeah, because we started out like, did they fucking like wheel him up there?
Yeah, I didn't, because I guess the last time we talked about this, it was the, like, in my head when it was being explained was, oh, the Emperor is in the chair during like most of Warhammer. I had no idea that, like, oh no, he's a central figure doing shit right now. Like in the Siege of Terra is when he gets put in the chair.
No, he just sort of coalesces into being like fully formed as a skeleton in a chair, right? Like that's
what started.
That's
Yeah,
right.
he's been like the Stephen Hawking of
and then Dorn's just wheeling him around everywhere.
It's like Charles Xavier, but
yeah.
I will say, when you get to that, no spoilers, even though we all know how it all ends.
There's a timer going off in there.
I know, that's Carmen's.
When you finally get to that point at the end of the death, where it's like, all right, he's dead. What do we do with his body? We gotta get him here, there. It's like, oh shit, here we go, man. We're putting him in the chair. This is the moment. Like that's pretty iconic, but. You really hope it won't happen. You just really hope it won't happen.
I was telling Cody that, like, it's so hard knowing the end and just like going through, because right now I was telling you about like Mortis is all about like Titan battles, which is the name of the book. It's the Heretic Legion of Titans, and it's like I know what happens, but it's so sad. It's like throughout the book they'll be like distance to wall 300 kilometers, distance to wall this, and at the very last chapter they go distance to wall 0, and I was like, fuck, they're all the time.
Yep.
All the loyalist Titans are dead. It's so sad.
Or like how the whole time, you know, if you're a fan of like Warhammer in the modern setting, you know, okay, all the Primarchs are dead, one's come back, whatever. And you know, all the Primarchs include Sanguinius. So the whole time you're reading Siege of Terra and you're like, when's it gonna happen, man?
Yeah.
Like, I know this is fucking coming.
I thought it was gonna be book 2 because, like, again, we're basing off of like that podcast, and then you know you look at like all the Siege of Terra books, and like book 2 is Sanguinius with his wings outstretched, with holding a flaming sword up high. I'm like, he died in that one because I think it's also called The Lost and the Damned, or whatever. And so you're sitting there going, well, he's dead, and then Matt's like, no, he's still alive. I'm like,
yeah,
when the
yeah,
fuck
not,
is he dying?
not yet, not today.
I was like, not yet.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he spends a whole book walking around sort of cryptically telling people today's not the day I die.
What I don't understand,
when is it?
Because he says in his mind, he's like, I gotta talk to Malkador about these visions I'm having, and I'm like, yes, you really have to. And he's like, but I'm gonna do this other thing, and I'm like, no, you
stop waving death flags.
Yeah, like you really have to talk to Malkador that you're seeing the future. Like he literally saw the table that Perturabo, like the battle map that Perturabo was like looking over, and he saw it in his mind, and I was like, that's critical information you need to be telling people. And he goes, man, these dreams are crazy, dude.
I'm sure that's fine. Rogel will handle stuff. So.
Daddy Dorn will figure it out.
He'll figure it out with none of this information that I have.
Yeah.
He really is. Like, I mean, all the Primarchs are just badass, but like, they're each, and this is the thing, I just fall in love with each Legion the more and more I read.
Oh, dude.
And then, but Dorn is just, there's something about him that's just so badass, and he's so good, and you think that he's like so one-dimensional, and he's so not. Like, like in the book, I think it's Saturnine, when he meets with, oh, you turn it off? Yes. I appreciate it. Carmen's on the phone. And,
I was
hold
doing the same thing.
And he's having the meeting where who's the dude that starts the Inquisitors, or interrogators?
Oh, Cinderman.
Cinderman. He's literally on top of this balcony about to kill himself because he's like, I like nothing I can do will change anything because I'm not even like a space marine. Like I have no part to play in this war. It's probably best because if I don't take resources that other people, if I don't breathe air that other people need more than me, it's better if I kill myself. And he's standing on like the ledge, and Dorn's behind him, and he goes, what are you doing, bud? And they have this whole conversation, and after it, Dorn's like, actually, I think we need to...
I have a job for you.
Yeah, exactly, I have a job for you. And he says, essentially, he's like, we need to get the... what were they used to be called? The Remembrancers. We have to redo it because it, like, history's worth remembering because it's worth protecting, which is what we're doing.
Dude.
And then they call them the Interrogators, and the I then changes from Interrogators to the Inquisition.
Well, and it's like one part Dorn, one part Malkador, right? Because you learn that like one of the eyes is Malkador's sigil, and then the other eye is like the Interrogator shape, right? And so I think, and you know, don't quote me on this, but what I've kind of put together just from context and from reading the books is like the two eyes combined, which is the Inquisition symbol, like that came from Dorn and from Malkador.
Yeah.
It just all these ideas about like, what does it mean to preserve culture? You know, what is it that we're fighting for? Man, and it's so cool too. Like, you know, reading from the first Horus Heresy books, like, oh, these are the Remembrancers. They're wartime journalists. Like, and people work their whole life and go to school to be a wartime journalist right now because right now is a fucking crazy time in human history. And man, I don't know. It's so interesting.
So, like, when did you get into like Warhammer books?
Not that long ago, 2023.
Whoa.
Like, yeah.
Damn,
And
you
haven't
you
you,
just said
haven't
fuck
you
it.
read like 17 books? Or-
17. Honey, I've read like 46.
Oh my god.
You just,
I,
did you just like get in? You were like, you read one, you're like, fuck it. I'm
Yeah,
all
I
in.
mean,
it
to
was
be
like-
fair, like we know that like autistic, like I'm into this now, and that's all I'm about.
Yep.
Yeah,
And that's what I
100%.
did. I said, "Hey, I'm a 34-year-old man not doing anything. Let's try this out for
Yeah.
a year." No, it was
Better than
you know,
getting into actual war documentaries. That's
yeah,
that's
Yeah.
bad
for
path
sure.
to
Because
take.
then you're kind of like a weird little prick about it.
yeah,
Yeah,
you become
yeah.
like way more conservative.
You know, the Kensburn effect is actually really interesting.
You know, the Confederacy. And then like, stop.
No, it's about states' rights. is
That's
what it
right.
is.
That's right.
No, so
sounded
you know,
just like
you
my
all know
grandpa.
Ezra, and Ezra was really into.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, no shit. Ah, jeez.
There's a very bitter rivalry going now.
Speaking of
one-sided.
conservative weirdos,
He was so nice to me on Saturday, and I was pissed off about it.
He was like, when he saw you at Bavo, he was like, "Hey, dude, come here, you big hunk of love."
Yeah, and he was like, "Why aren't you drinking right now? I'm gonna buy you a drink." And I was like, "God damn it!"
It's like I want to hate you.
but no, so he was really into Vermintide too, and I had played Left 4 Dead in college, so I downloaded Vermintide 2 and was playing that with him. Fucking loved it.
Yeah,
Genuinely
Love
great
Vermintide.
game.
genuinely really cool.
I did not
Fantastic
expect to
game.
enjoy it as much as I did because I was like, I don't know, like rats, okay, whatever. And then you get into it and you're like, oh fuck, this is really fucking
Yeah.
fun.
It's cool to see how
Is it
good
made
a
by the
live service
same-
game can be.
Yeah.
Like when it's left to like simmer for years, you know, and they keep updating it, and it's like that's Vermintide too.
That's
Well,
the only other game in that similar vein that I'm like, wow, this is still around has been For Honor, where I'm like, why the fuck is
But
this still
also,
getting updated?
For Honor, it's only because there's like, I don't know the actual number, but there is a select
There's like 200 people that
that will
fuck with
never
that game.
will never play another game other than For Honor.
Yeah, well that's the thing, and like, but like, I feel like most companies would be like, it's only like 200 people.
Speaking
play this,
of,
get out.
quick side we were watching Mythic Quest on Apple TV.
Oh shit.
And then all of a sudden they were like, because it's about like a
Game dev and shit,
you have a MMO, and they were like showing trailers for their fake game, and all the trailers are just For Honor cutscenes, and I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
this
all
is,
footage from Ubisoft games.
and then and then at the end it says Ubisoft, and we're like, oh, it's the whole show sponsored by Ubisoft. That makes
That's
sense. I was
so
like,
funny.
because we were showing For Honor, and then somebody jumps off, does the
leap of faith.
the leap of faith, and I go, what? Assassin's Creed? What is happening?
Is it? Are you guys on season 1? Or
I mean,
further?
it was episode 1.
It was
Okay, so yeah,
episode one.
it probably was definitely Ubisoft was like, hey, yeah, we'll help sponsor, just show all our shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they did to Rob McElhenney what the Singaporean government did for them.
Yeah, and then they fucked the Singapore government by putting out the worst pirate game in existence.
Who made Vermintide? Do you know?
I want to say no, it wasn't
I don't know.
Fat Shark. It was
Was it the same devs who did World War Z?
No.
Because that also is that
No.
same. Because it wasn't the Left 4 Dead team.
the DayZ team
We're
did
not-
Space Marine 2.
Because
I don't know.
Space
It is Fat Shark.
It is Fat Shark.
Good
Okay.
call. Yeah.
Because I know Space Marine 2 is Saber, and they just do everything.
Doesn't Fat Shark
Yes,
also make
and then
like? Drone
Owlcat
gear?
did
Alcat did Rogue Trader,
Rogue Trader. Yeah.
which that's on Game Pass. And
Yeah, like one night, like a week ago, all the guys started downloading it, and I didn't realize you're like, yeah, it's just Warhammer Baldur's Gate.
yeah,
I was like,
it's a CRPG,
What?
just not as cinematic as Baldur's Gate, because nobody has that budget.
It's so good.
That's the thing. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna test it out on my Xbox. If I like it enough, I'm gonna get on Steam Deck because I think that type of game is like perfect portably. I started it. I was like going through the character creator. It's fucking insanely detailed. And I ended up going with, like,
and there's like classes and everything.
yeah. There's
I'll show it to you later.
Okay.
there's classes including your it's not homeworld. What's it called?
Just like your birth world.
Yeah,
or
Birth
whatever.
World. So you can be from like a mechanicus place, whatever, all this stuff. You
Yeah.
can your classes are like, because I picked a psyker because I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And because the character had a dope ass hood on, and I was like, oh,
Yeah, I mean, you're all about that warlock.
yeah,
anything.
yeah. I like any like melee focused magic motherfucker. I'm like, yeah, give me that. So like I played it for about like 4-ish hours. Got into some combat, and I'm like, oh yeah, I'll fuck with this. So I'm probably gonna buy it on
You're a saint.
Steam.
You're a fucking saint.
Just for the Steam Deck.
Thank you.
That
you did.
seems really
I literally
fucking
saw
fun.
that happen. You looked over, saw I didn't have a beer, and then I was like, he's not getting a beer for me. And I saw that he had a beer in his hand. I went, oh my god, he is. What a homie. Thank you.
The boy, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, if you like to get crunchy with the combat, like Rogue Trader, I've had some 2.5 hour combat sequences in that fucking game. It like,
Well,
it's such a slog sometimes, dude.
Sounds
but
like
it's
Final
so
Fantasy
rewarding.
15.
Well, I was gonna say like it has kind of like that old school JRPG vibe of like, oh, there are like secret bosses or secret fights that like if you're not fucking careful, you will die because like it's intentionally like, oh, this is clearly the right way to go, but if I go through this obscure cavern to this thing and then this one room, I'm gonna fight like a fucking chaos demon because they just put one there.
Yep.
And then it's like, oh yeah, have fun for 2.5 hours of, hey, it's gonna heal itself like 5 fucking times, and then it's got like this thing, and if you're not careful with it, it's like all this shit. Then I'm like, I'm over
Oh,
here
and
like,
here's
when was
wave
this
2. 5 of its friends just showed up, and half your party's dead. Have fun. Yep.
When was this made?
23, I think.
Yeah, I think
it was
23
recent.
is
Yeah, it's like
Oh.
it's very
it is.
recent.
Yeah,
It's the
new.
first Warhammer 40k RPG. There was not an RPG 40k video game prior to this
I mean,
one.
what's
And
so
it's
cool
and it's
though,
full RPG, like decision making, choice and consequence.
That's
There's romance
awesome.
options,
Oh, dude.
companions.
it's
the
so
whole 9
exciting
yards.
that now with Space Marine 2 doing so well, I feel like it's just opening the Warhammer up to like gamers, and I hope that we're gonna get a lot more games now.
I want a.
I mean, we
like,
got a secret level episode. Like, there's so much stuff that
I really need like I don't know what it would be, but I want like a kind of almost like not like a Metal Gear Rising or whatever, but like a kind of an action game, I guess, where you play as like a more like Inquisitor type character where you're not a Space Marine doing the crazy shit, but like you're more on the ground level dealing with shit. And then it's like, yeah, if Space Marines show up, you're like, I gotta get the fuck
I mean, there's
out.
a couple just
Hired
like
gun.
Imperial.
Hired gun? Is that the Necra?
That's the Necromundo one.
yeah.
Your hired gun is like Borderlands meets Doom.
Ooh,
It's
okay.
it's very much sort of like the scalability and the movement mechanics of Borderlands, and there's like lots of wall running and grappling around. But then it's a Doom shooter for 4. I mean, it's very high paced. Like you're constantly killing motherfuckers.
That's why I love Bolt Gun.
Yeah, we fucked with
Dude,
Bolt Gun.
Bolt
Bolt
Gun.
Gun's
I have it downloaded on the Steam Deck. I have to.
It's so
You'll
good.
love
To
it.
be fair though, I want to finish Spider-Man. I'm like,
Yeah.
You're really close.
Oh, I'm there. I'm just doing all the side missions so I can get like the Black Cat and all that kind of.
Oh, so you're doing the DLC stuff now?
No, like the,
Oh, okay, never mind. Yeah,
He's doing like the pictures.
got it.
the
But
picture.
I will say that the costume you get from Black Cat is the second best in the
Yeah,
game.
100%.
What's the first best?
Fucking Scarlet Spider. All
Yeah.
the way.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
Scarlet Spider's
I
just so
asked
fucking good.
UJ a while ago, like what suit he
Yeah,
had.
I'm the only person on Earth that fucks with those shitty Clone Saga comics.
I fucked with them until they didn't leave it alone.
Yeah,
Like-
there's
like
that
the-
whole thing where it's like, oh, Ben's dead now. Peter's changed.
It's
And
actually
like, no,
Peter
he's
is
not
Ben, and
actually.
it's like
What?
Actually, an astrological figure has brought Ben back again.
Well,
Yeah,
what's
and that
the,
just happened again recently.
well, no,
The Jackal?
who's the
No
one?
kidding.
Who's the one who's Chasm now? Is that Ben or is that the other one?
That might be Kane.
Yeah.
because he was the new Scarlet Spider
Yeah.
for a while.
Now he's Chasm, and I'm like, what's going on?
Oh yeah, that was some weird Sin Eater shit,
Yeah,
right? That made
yeah.
him into Chasm.
I was
Yeah.
like, I don't get whatever. I mean, Spider-Man comics, except for the new Ultimate run where he's an adult with children and married and having
I
a happy
need to
life.
get into the
Dude,
new
it's
Ultimate stuff, dude.
legitimately.
Dude, have
good.
you seen?
I saw
interested
some of the
in it.
Weapon X previews for Wolverine coming to Ultimate,
that
and I was like,
the
this looks
Ultimate run
fucking sick.
and then the Absolute run from DC Comics,
Dude,
have
yes,
been like
thank
the
you,
go-to
dude.
shit.
Absolute Batman looks so
Absolute-
sick. I need to
Absolute,
fuck with
dude.
it.
Absolute Wonder Woman is like the hardest shit because it's straight up just like God of War and Berserk level, like the
Dude.
Greek pantheon levels of fighting giant shit, but then she's got the giant slab of iron sword. She's like fucking tatted up with like sick ass armor. I'm like, this is the coolest Wonder Woman has ever been.
Yeah, I need
Like-
to dive in. Absolute's got me as excited for DC as I was back when like the metal, like all the dark metal stuff.
Oh,
started
that
coming
shit's
out.
so sick.
Dude, yeah,
I picked it. So
absolutely.
when I went home for Christmas, there's this huge like estate sale that was happening, and there was all of these comics that were all like $1.35, and then they had some other ones. And I just picked up anything that I thought the cover looked cool, and all the dark stuff was like so absolutely sick. I also picked up all the volumes of,
yeah, you got me some dope ass Turok comics.
Yeah, because DJ, and you didn't even know that there were Turok comics.
No, but I love Turok.
And I got 1 through 4, which I was like, it was crazy because I was like going through a section and I found like 1 and 2, and I was like, oh cool. And then I mean there were like 36 boxes, and I go through and I go, here's 3. What? There's another? And then I found 4, and I didn't find any more. But I was like, it's still incredible that I found 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I had a similar experience. I went to the Great Escape in Nashville when I was a kid, because I used to have
What's
to go.
that?
It's like a comic and record store.
Okay.
And back when they were in the old location in like downtown or whatever, I used to have to like go to the hospital a lot for tests and shit. And then I would go over there, and my dad would be like, "Okay, I'll buy you a thing."
It's like a reward.
Yeah. And one of the dopest things I ever found there was the Japanese KH2 soundtrack on CD.
Nice.
Ooh,
Got that. And then number 1 through 6, which is all they ever made of the Nights into Dreams comic books.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Was that also Archie back in the day?
was,
So
yeah.
everything Sega did was through Archie for the time. Yeah.
Dude, I had a subscription to the Sonic Archie comics. Like,
Dude,
as
those
a
are
kid in the
absolutely
early 2000s.
wild.
Fucking batshit
Insane
insane.
stuff.
We got into the whole Chris Chan like documentary, which I showed you, but I then after that
BJ showed Matt.
BJ was like, yeah. Also, the Sonic comics
Ken
are
Penderton or whatever his name is. The
Yes,
guy that writes
dude.
Knuckles super hard.
Like the Sonic comics are absolutely wild. You get like space aids
Dude.
and all sorts of
There's a
stuff.
bunch of cuckolding.
Yeah, I was gonna say Sonic
Yes,
cooks Tails,
dude.
his best friend.
Yeah.
Dude, well, like I love too is like you can tell immediately when Penders got fired, because
Yeah,
immediately
because they immediately reset the universe.
well, it was like because Ian Flynn came in and I guess finished an arc and then said, all right, fuck it, we're doing a big DC level event where I'm gonna get rid of everything that's not like. Because then that's when Sega was
Everything
like,
that's freaky and weird.
well, because at that point Sega was like, hey, we're gonna make sure you guys write this shit good. Fuck that guy. And then the comics came over and goes, okay, so Sonic can only smile, he can never be sad, he can never lose. Amy's always in love with Sonic, but they can never recuperate it. All this other shit. And then like the worst one was still Shadow has no friends, he's a loner, he has to be a Debbie Downer and cocky and whatever this, and it's like
that'll change now that Shadow Generations has come out.
now that he smiled in a video game and cried,
Now that they've been like, okay, he can be a character, they'll change it.
The Keanu Reeves can feel, Shadow can feel.
That's
too.
right.
Yeah,
exactly.
dude, that movie had no right to go that hard. Like,
I still haven't seen it.
dude,
I've
need to see
me
it.
and Luke saw
They're-
it twice within a week span.
yeah.
Man.
Yeah, because it came out while I was gone over back home for Christmas, and I was like, I know that they're not gonna wait to watch it with me. So then on New Year's, Lee spent the night after New Year's. So on the 1st, we woke up and it was like 10, and I was like, what if we went to go see a movie at like for matinee and like spend like $9 for a movie ticket?
I think-
do you want to go see
We're like
Sonic?
and I think me and BJ are like, yeah, absolutely.
I was asleep for this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I woke up BJ and I said, "Hey, we're gonna go see Sonic in theaters for matinee. Tickets are $9." And he was like, "Okay." And then 3 minutes later, he was out the door, and I was
Hell
like, "That's
yeah,
the fastest
dude.
I've ever seen you wake up."
Dude, you know what? You know what actually came out today? I think that I'm definitely gonna watch tonight is the new Daredevil.
oh fuck.
Just dropped.
Fuck yes.
Oh god, dang it.
Cannot
Yeah.
wait.
Dude, speaking of also new things coming out, the new It Takes Two.
Yeah, Split
game
Fiction.
comes on the 5th.
Dude, it's
I
getting,
told Carmen, she was like, "We're playing that day one."
it's
I said,
getting
"Fair enough."
so many good reviews. And I'm
That's
like, thank
good.
God.
That's
Thank
hype.
God. Well, dude, it was so refreshing. To be fair, like if there was another game that was very good, that was deserving, I would be happy with them getting Game of the Year. But it was so refreshing seeing them win Game
Yeah.
of the Year, especially after playing it with Carmen, and both of us were like, this was an incredible game. It was a fun thing that we got to do. Like everything about it was exactly how they meant it to be, which was for like couples to play together and get to witness a story of these people working through their marriage and it like exactly what it was trying to do happened for Carter and I, where I was like, I got frustrated because I play video games all the time. And I go, just go left.
Yeah, you're standing on the last
and
platform.
then I see the character being mean to his wife, and I was like, I need to calm down. It's just a game. At least we're not them almost getting a divorce. And I was like, oh my god, they're literally just trying they're subverting all the subversive messaging is like what they're actually trying for us to pick up, which is like, you got to work together to play through this game, and that you get to see them change and be kind to each other. You should be, and I was like, oh my god. I'm excited.
You're so right, game.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this one because the trailers all looked crazy. Where it's like, yeah, new story idea. It's now a fantasy world where you have to hatch a dragon egg and make it go, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
And then there's a level where you're literally pigs that then go through a processing plant, and then you turn out as hopping hot dogs, and you're like, whoa.
Hey, that's something.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't give a fuck about any other game that comes out this month. Xenoblade X Definitive Edition comes out on the 20th, I think, and that's the only thing I'm looking forward to.
Are you gonna stop playing Yakuza?
Nope, probably
I'm gonna finish it before then.
Oh, dude, how's the new fucking Yakuza game?
It's awesome.
There's
I beat the main story.
2 nights ago.
Yeah, 2 nights ago I beat the main story, and I'm now just in the middle of finishing side stuff that I want to. It's so fucking good, dude.
I'm 40 hours in, and I finished chapter 3 last night.
to be fair, there are only 5, but still. At some point, thankfully they stopped forcing you to do side content. There's a point where they're like, just go. And I'm like, oh, sick. And so I would do side content, and then the story would go, oh shit. And I'm like, well, fuck the side story with this one guy. I need to know what the fuck happened here. And I beelined the main story after a while, where I was like, dude, this is fucking insane.
That's awesome.
It is, the story is not as good as the first Gaiden, which is fair. That was hella emotional, Kiryu centric of
but only at the end.
Well,
and the beginning.
Well, I was gonna say, even throughout, I liked a lot of the characters in Gaiden a little more. Where I like the characters in Pirate, but there are moments where I'm like, and you can probably attest this too, that this game definitely feels the most there's a 10-year-old child in the party, so you have to be super nice and kind of PG in moments, and and you can tell in certain areas Majima does not kill anyone in this game because of the 10-year-old boy.
Wow.
They can say that all they want, but there's heat actions where he stabs motherfuckers
but remember,
with swords
heat actions
and shoots them with guns that are part of your loadout.
But whenever you do that in the game and then the cutscene happens, guy stands up and is like, oh, you beat me very bad.
I've not seen any cutscenes in the Coliseum. Those motherfuckers are dead.
Well, okay, to be fair, that's the only one where they straight up say, no, people die in the Coliseum. So I think even Noah, the little boys, I think they're like, no, just go wait in the captain's cabin. Don't watch it. But
unpopular opinion, I loved Like a Dragon Ishin. I went so hard with the armor and weapon building.
That's the only one I haven't finished.
Yeah, I remember you played it right when it dropped, and then 2 days later I asked you how is it, and you're like, I stopped playing.
Because it's not Kiryu, it's some guy I don't know from Live Alive.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I do want to finish Ishin because I think I got further than you. Story wise, you probably did more side content than I did. But I want to finish it. I think something else came out that I was like, you know what, I'll come back to this.
But also at the time that I was playing it, I hadn't played Judgment.
Okay, yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, Judgment's right there. I'm just gonna go do that.
The Judgments are 2 of my favorites in the whole series.
You keep saying that.
The thing is, Lost Judgment is one that I'm when I was playing it, I'm like, this is, I don't know how I feel about the story. There's a lot of weird, but by the end I was like, oh my fucking gosh. And to be fair, until Gaiden,
is that the one with the mole?
No, that's the first one.
The first one's the one with the mole. It's fantastic though. If you're gonna play one game and it not be Zero, Judgment. I think it should be Judgment.
But if you are gonna play one game,
start Zero.
It should be Zero.
Yeah, start Zero and go. I also, so when I beat Pirate, I got in my head, I'm like, oh, I want to play Zero again. And I started Zero again. I was like, fuck, I forgot how slow this game starts. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll wait. I'll come back to this one day when I'm really want to play a Yakuza game that's not going to be the next one that comes out.
Speaking of people with eye patches, I had a very eye-opening conversation with Cody on Saturday about Metal Gear.
Oh, nice.
What's up with his eye?
You'll find out. Because now Cody has given me a way to structure the whole presentation, and now I have it laid out in my head perfectly.
Hell yeah! One day I'm gonna come home.
You asked me. You said, "Is Revolver Ocelot the main character of Metal Gear?" And I was like, "That's the thing. I'm gonna make that the whole presentation."
I know. Ever since I did the the Warhammer, I was like, I really want you guys to make like Google Slides presentations.
He's literally the child of the boss, dude. How is he not the main character of Metal Gear? He like is always the guy that started the organization, knew the dude's brother. Oh, how did we? Oh, Revolver Ocelot borrowed all the money, and that's how we were able to do any of this shit. And every time it comes back to him.
There's 3 other playable characters, and Ocelot's there the whole time. He's the protagonist.
Yes. Ocelot in any other series would be the protagonist.
Dude,
but like because Metal Gear is so fucking weird, you play as a guy who's like tangentially next to the important dude half the time.
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite part about 2 is like, oh, Solid Snake, they're like, fuck that guy, Raiden. And you're like, what? Okay. And you play through that whole game, and it's like, again, really good story, but then like literally the whole game is like, so Snake's doing that over there.
Yep.
And it's like, why can't I be over there? And they're like, no, but Raiden has to deal with this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then, which still very interesting, but consistently you get like, Snake did that thing, and I'm like, can I see the thing? They're like, no, don't. And then you go to 3, and 3 is probably the only one where it's like, you just played Snake. They're like, realistically around you, it's still like you're dealing with people like the boss and like other people, but like it's
and
more.
Ocelot.
Yeah, fair. But like I feel like 3 is probably the most like we're gonna focus in on Snake. Even like Metal Gear Solid 1 deals with like but like. Here's like all these other important characters. We just need you, Snake, to go sneak in and do your little tiptoe dance around everybody else around here.
Well, see, 3 is still about Revolver Ocelot. It's just the story of why he uses a revolver.
Yeah, really. It's just like the stupid origin story that they'd put in the
Big
Marvel
Boss
movie.
told me I should.
Yeah,
and that's
he called
what
me
Metal
a
Gear
pussy
Solid
for not
3's
doing
about.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
What? Okay, big. We'll get to
save it for the presentation.
I was gonna ask because I think I've asked this to BJ multiple times.
I'm gonna be the one asking all the questions on every slide, and then BJ will be like, "Hold on, next slide."
Luke's gonna be on his phone.
You were on your phone so much on the Warhammer
because there were things that I was like, because you kept like, we were drunk as fuck. You kept moving to the next slide and then go, no wait, fuck, back, and so I'd see you go, okay, well let me hold on, is that okay? And I had like 3 tabs of Warhammer shit open where I'm like, I need like multiple sources for things because I already forgot the name he just said.
Dude, that's the beautiful thing about 40K is it can like encompass all of your fictional tastes and then carry you into all of your fun little nerd shit creative hobbies.
Yeah.
You can just do anything and go anywhere with that thing.
I mean,
that's what Disney should have done with Star Wars.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. I really dropped the
ball.
I
mean, there is technically a Star Wars tabletop game for ships.
There is now.
Yeah.
I'll see him at like Clicks back in the day.
Armada, right?
Yeah, it's Armada.
Yeah, Armada's big, dude.
Yeah, it's gotten bigger, but it's so interesting how like a lot of these like Gundam, in Japan, they're like, we need something to sell toys, and they're like, well, let's make robots, big robots, and so then Gundam toys came out. And with Warhammer, was it the figurines that like they made the figurines with the lore?
They did. So because of you, I watched like a 12-hour documentary thing series of Warhammer, like the history of the game, not the lore. But like they started just doing regular miniature battle stuff, like Civil War shit, Revolution, all that stuff. And they were like, this is boring. Let's do fantasy. And that's what Warhammer was.
Yeah.
And that was because they were like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons is cool, but we can't use any of their shit. So let's do this. And so they did all that shit. And then someone goes, Star Wars is cool. Let's do it in the future. And then they did that, and then that blew the fuck up.
Well, like,
and they had lore. The thing is, they keep retconning the lore every time they put out a new set of things.
What's cool about the lore is because it's so big, and like all the lore just has to do with like what people like in universe write down and document. They're like, this one person like says one thing, and then actually it's been changed because this other person who was
actually there,
whose friend said, who was actually there, says this. So that's how they can like retcon things without it like being like, oh no, they just changed their mind. They're like, actually, somebody who was at there.
Yeah, that guy's uncle works for Warhammer Nintendo.
Yeah.
Well, like the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure the in-universe explanation is like you are currently playing the modern shit that's happening right now because your army is whatever fighting this army. But then all the lore is like, yeah, but what happened a little bit before that was this and this planet, and that's why in the new sets this planet's not available to fight on, and it's like all the sets are like however many years technically ahead of that shit, and then they'll go, okay, now we're gonna do it in this realm, and now you're playing here, so you can kind of just do whatever you want. Like, yeah, I'm making a whole Tau army, and they're gonna kill the Space Marines because I think that's cool. And it's like, all right, that's not canon, but fuck it.
Yep. Yeah. So
yeah, even though like most of the time, like at least in Warhammer, it's like with the Tau, the Imperium of Man was like, nah, they're like
they're humanoid looking.
No, it's like they're such like a child civilization. We're not gonna really care. And then they came across them again, and they're like.
They have mechs.
They have. This is kind of. It was like within the span of 10,000 years.
Well, the best thing about the Tau is they're the youngest like sentient species that's like a big player, right? And
the greater good.
Still, they haven't like had their dreams dashed by like what the rest of this universe
what
really
Warhammer is.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
and they believe in the greater good.
Yeah, and they have no scope for how old the Imperium of Man really is.
I heard
like they see a Titan and they're like, oh, we thought that was made up. God damn, they really went and built that. Whoa. First of all, why? Second of all, whoa.
I heard about a story of a dreadnought that got captured by the Tau, and they like were investigating it, and they found out that it was like 10,000 years old, and they were like, that's older than us.
Yeah, they like
what
shit
the
their pants.
Fuck?
Yeah, dude, I love that.
Well,
I love just like being so idealistic and like, we can explore the stars now, guys. Let's do it. Let's see what's out there. This is going to be so cool. What if we find like a big pyramid?
And it's
then
like
they do, and it's the Necrons.
Well, that's just like humanity now.
Yeah.
In the future.
It's like, oh, sick. What are we gonna find? Necrons, the fucking bug shit.
It is like
the crazy
us looking at the pyramids, being like, "How the fuck did they build that?"
Yeah,
it's gotta be aliens. There's no way.
100%. That's the Tau looking at a dreadnought, being like, "How did what?
It's magic.
I don't even understand."
Last year, we just got Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
we know it was slaves. Like, they weren't giving them breaks and shit, and they had billions of slaves.
Yeah, but
so
like,
easy.
I love the people who just look at the pyramid and go, nope, that can't.
Dude,
must have been aliens.
I've been on a job site. I can see what people can do.
Yeah.
You get 3 Mexicans from a Home Depot parking lot. The pyramids are up next week.
Yeah, dude.
Have you seen the meme that I sent you where it's Christoph Waltz from Inglourious Bastards, and it's the scene where he's at the table with the guy, and it goes, you hiding workers from ICE at a job site, but they won't turn off their DeWalt speaker, and the background noise is like Mexican music, and you're like,
yes.
That's real.
are you do you have enemies of the state? I believe you're bored. Yes.
Gosh.
Yes.
I love one thing I like because like you were saying about the Tau like being in the greater good is like
because they'll find other civilizations be like, do you like communism? We'll all help each other, even though you're only born into like where they called like the different levels of society,
like class systems.
Yeah, you're born into this and you can
caste.
Caste, and you can never leave it.
Well, because like that was one of the things where like when we were talking about like the Warhammer podcast, like the Tower mentioned. But we went full in on the Imperium. We talked about the
Tyranids because of Space Marine 2.
It was pretty much like a get ready for Space Marine 2. And then when I looked into the Tau, that's when I found out about the Guilliman's like coming back because it was like a weird joint like thing
Him
like,
and the Eldari. Yeah.
And it was like, oh shit. And like that's why like apparently Guilliman, while he's still like I don't know about y'all, he's like, we'll leave him alone for now.
Yeah, my
like it's the most
the enemy of my enemy.
Yeah, it's like the most like coexisting that's ever happened in the Warhammer universe is because I don't outright hate you,
especially with John Warhammer. He speaks about the Eldari a lot,
dude.
A lot. I don't know all the history behind it, but he talks about them.
The Eldari aren't the Eldari like pretty much just like Japanese like inspired shit or like similar, or am I thinking
the Tao? You're thinking of the
Tao.
Tao, dude. First of all, Gilliman is a badass because so it's like a joint venture between this death cult of the Eldari and the Adeptus or Adepta Mechanicum. Fuck, I can't think. The Mechanicus, though.
Yes.
Like, they get together, come up with some technology to bring Gilliman back to life. Part of all that is the Armor of Fate. The Armor of Fate is like what you see Gilliman in anytime you see illustrations.
That's some berserk shit.
Is this all happened before the Dark Imperium books? Because those are the ones.
This leads up to the Dark Imperium.
Because I have
that's like
I have the 3 Dark Imperium books. They look
Dude,
cool.
I'm in book 2 right now.
I want to read those because they look sick as fuck, but I just don't know what to read before.
They're
that
really good.
Context.
I think the Dark Imperium's a great jumping off point because they set up the current state of the lore really well. But what you should read prior to that is Fall of Cadia, because that shit goes super duper duper hard and will give you a great big Warhammer boner.
Especially when like reading these books, you always like get the hard on for the Space Marines, and then anytime in the books, like Siege of Terra books, when they talk about like human warriors, you're like, they're fucking cooked. But then when you go to like the Fall of Cadia, you're like, these people are like, for humans, normal humans, are the coolest, and they like love their home, and they're like, it's that like Braveheart like fight for like our home. It's very cool.
You will fucking cry for some humans reading Fall of Cadia.
Yes.
Dude. There's a moment where the planet's falling apart and they're like, get on the ship, get off the fucking planet, this shit's cracking under our feet. And the character who you're following, Marta Helsker, one of my favorite characters in Warhammer, she looks over and she sees soldiers on the ground with their helmets just scooping dirt up and sticking it like into shell casings and putting dirt in whatever they can, and she's like, they're trying to take as much of Cadia with them as they can, and you're just like,
so good.
That's one that's been on the radar. That, and then I found it at Barnes and Noble, and like I had, I guess, credit. I also bought the Eisenhorn omnibus as well.
Dude, I haven't started Eisenhorn, but it's on the radar.
But Fall of Cadia is one that I want to get into because Dark Imperium looks so sick.
So in
and
Space
that sets
Marine,
up Dark Imperium
for
perfectly.
Space Marine 2, you fight with a lot of Cadians.
Yeah.
And at the very last segment where you're like fighting versus chaos, you'll notice that there are certain people with purple eyes and other soldiers that don't have purple eyes that are freaking the fuck out. And the thing is, because Cadia was so close to
the Eye of Terra,
Terra, they have a like immunity and built up resistance to chaos, and so they have purple eyes. And then everybody else
just got the spice melange.
They have
Dude,
the
literally.
Yes, 100%. Dude, speaking of, Cody and I was like, it's so obvious when Warhammer lore was being written, because you hear about like glow globes, plasteel, and you're like
Armaglass and shit.
Yeah,
you realize like very quickly how much Dune inspired everything sci-fi.
else.
Yeah, it's all the British sci-fi from like the 70s.
Which is, I mean, I'm like all about it. Anytime I go, that's
It's really funny because like
glow globes.
Dune's such a funny book series because you go, oh, read Dune, read Messiah, and then Children, and you're probably good to stop there. But if you keep going,
except if you want to go 10,000 years in the past,
you've got to read House of Harkonnen.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. You can stop there, or you go 10,000 years in the future, and it's like, somehow, who the fuck is Jason Momoa's character? What's his name?
Duncan Idaho.
Yeah,
Duncan's main character
the
of
fifth
Dune.
clone of Duncan Idaho.
Dude, there is a point in one of the books where he literally is like, please stop bringing me back. I hate it. He's
dude,
like, I fucking hate it here.
I was all about Frank Herbert and Orson Scott Card in high school. So like between the Dune books and then how unhinged the Ender's Game series gets, like there's a whole Shadow series that just follows one of the kids like from
Ender's
the
Game?
school, and
Ender's
he's
Game
like
was great.
He's like an international agent spy, and then Peter's brother is like the president of Earth, and dude, it's so fucking crazy.
I love how like wild old sci-fi got because literally anything was on the table.
Yeah.
Whereas now we've kind of like refined, like, okay, we know how to keep it kind of constrained a little bit. Like even Warhammer, as crazy as it gets, there are rules that they kind of abide by. Typically, Dune was like, so Dune starts with like the Spice Planet, the Harkonnens, all this stuff, and then later we get to like lesbian dominatrix space witches who take
Fuck
men.
yes.
Yeah, like who take men and then fucking Duncan like has sex with one and turns her straight, and now she's his queen of a ship called the Chapter House, and they're actually, and it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Well, what I was so impressed by with reading Dune is that, like, how something written back in the 70s, how good they were at like, because you're thinking, oh, in the future they must have like all this shit, and how good he was able to like set it up to where you're like, oh, that's believable, like the, oh, we don't use AI, we don't use computers like with intelligence because they took over and we had a war with them 10,000 years ago.
Well, lucky for you, there's 90 books about that.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, and like,
well, back in the day,
that was the one.
That was the one.
Well,
so it was a good point. Or like they're saying, oh,
no
like
guns because of the kinetic force.
Yeah,
thing.
or like no nukes because, or like nukes were still actually in the 70s. Nukes were the big deal, and that's why in Dune they're like, yeah, the nukes are the last. Like, we'll blow up the planet. Yeah, at the end of Dune, he's like, yeah, I'll blow up the spice fields.
It's like, yeah, I have nukes like fully ready.
Yeah.
Do you want me to print them?
Yeah, but I liked it because all the houses have nukes, and they're like, well, they only keep them when things get really bad.
It's literally just space galactic Cold War.
But the thing is, though, they don't use their laser technology against the shields because it causes nuclear fusion. And so you'll just have like nukes going off as you're firing lasers at ships.
And I like too, like, because like I love a good like sword fight. I don't know why I fuck with like sword fights heavy, just because they're so sick as hell.
Especially future sword fights.
Well, like, that's
cool.
why Star Wars, you're like, oh, when you think of like sci-fi, laser guns, ships, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Star Wars was like, fuck it, laser swords.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah.
You go to like Warhammer, and it's like, yeah, they have bolters and everything else, but they also have a fucking chain sword. Or like when I was playing Space Marine, the big fucking two-handed
power
sword.
swords,
dude. Just
all their power weapons are dope.
Dude,
as fuck.
that just became a fucking like Devil May Cry hack and slash.
Dude,
when I was
it's
using that
so
bitch. It was
crazy.
so sick.
Like, I was doing during Mortis, they just would like mention weapons and like on these Titans. So like these are massive weapons. And I was like, I need to know what these things are. And so anytime they would like mention like volcano cannons, I was like, oh, it's just a huge melta.
Yep.
Dude,
Yeah.
okay.
And like, so they were talking about like a melta, which is just like a flame weapon, but like melting metal essentially, and people would cover their eyes and they could see the outline of their bones with their eyes closed and like covered with their hands because of how bright these weapons were. And then they have like what are they called, vortex missiles, which just open a black hole into space, but it's just opens a gate to the warp because the Mortis engines called the demons out of the vortex. They fired missiles to try to like suck in Titans, and then they call them War Master Titans, which are just like the largest class. It blew they call it the war horns, and then all of a sudden these demons come out of the very black hole that they used to. Oh my gosh,
you would really like Rogue Trader, because, which I'm glad more RPGs are doing this, but you'll be in the middle of a dialogue and you'll see highlighted words. If you press a button, it'll show you that's what that is. So you have
that's dope as fuck.
full
I did that,
context.
so I've been doing that so much.
Yeah,
to be fair, more and more I understand terms that are more commonly used. But then when they're like introducing these Titans and massive weapons, because in the first Siege of Terra, the Solar War, they talk about these ship weapons, and they essentially just will be like torpedoes, like plasma torpedoes, or and then they'll call them macro cannons, and macro is the opposite of micro, so they're just like
big.
Like, you know, like on the World War II battleships, like those. But just think about this, if they were the size of houses or mountains that were firing like shells as big as mountains and hills. You're like, oh, macro, that makes sense. And then they're starting to say in like Mortis, like volcano.
Wait, so it's not like Melta or Bolter that you had to learn. It's the word macro.
No. No, I'm saying I understood that in the first book. But then with all the Titan Legion stuff, they're using like volcano cannon. And I was like, what? And then there was one that was, I forget, but what it does is it shoots into the earth and then implodes the earth so that like shit will fall into it. They call them like Groundbreaker. And I was like, oh, like I want to know what all these rounds are.
The few like hours of Rogue Trader
I knew what macro meant. I was like,
the way you explained it didn't give me much confidence in that.
No, I was saying that made sense to me. Like macro is opposite of micro, so they're really big. And then I didn't know the other.
You're gonna fuck with Rogue Trader for that, because like they're constantly where I'm like, Oh, because they even like stuff that just matters to the conversation at hand. Because you can role play it like, I don't know who that is, or if you hit the button, they'll tell you who that person is, the house they're from, whatever, and then you can then answer going, yeah, that guy, cool. And it's so cool, and I'm glad more RPGs are doing that, because even though it feels like a mid RPG, but like Avowed has that too with theirs, where you can go, what the fuck does that word they just said, and it'll go, yeah, this is what this is. This is where they rely on government, things like that. I forget. Well, Final Fantasy 16 does that, but with like the active time thing,
yeah,
where you can like
it
pause
does
it completely.
Feel like that's one of the things that makes me feel more immersed in the books, because like they're using all these like terminology so often in this one thing that I go like, they're sticking to it, like, you know.
Well, I think they have the, you know, with all the shit that's been going on, they probably had a book that did explain it before, and they're just like, look, you want to know what that is? You look it up or go read that book.
Yeah,
because at this point,
that's the whole thing with Dune. They're like, we're gonna talk about this shit that you should know, but you definitely don't.
Well, that's what makes a lot of it believable, in the sense where like, because we've all
every
seen
conversation you're not explaining what you're talking
yes,
about.
exactly. That's what the immersion is like. They're talking about a certain group of elite warriors, and they use a specific name, and they won't explain it until you look it up or like read the origin of it.
The thing
like
is
if this universe was fake and we started talking about Bay of Pigs, we'd just be like, oh yeah, Bay of Pigs. But if this was a book, someone would have to be like, the fucking Bay of Pigs.
How many times in Yakuza
Earth 2025 wiki.
Yeah. How many times in Yakuza 0, like, will Nishi go, yeah, Kiryu, you have to go to Kuze. You know, the lieutenant of the Dojima family. That's how Yakuza are built. Like, where they pull some shit like that.
I hate any time movie, book, TV show, anytime they do that, it pulls me out.
Because it's unnatural.
I also hate it when the main character that's being exposited to goes, yeah, no.
Yeah. Well, like that. No, like that's the thing. In Zero,
because the correct response would be, I'm not fucking 3. Yeah. I know what that is.
But it makes sense for Kiryu, because Kiryu is retarded.
Well, no, that's the thing is, in like when they were explaining it, like, oh yeah, you have to go to the lieutenants, you know, the Dojima family, and then Anishi goes, you know, and I'm like, and yeah, Kiryu goes, yeah, and I'm like, fuck off. I hate that.
Yeah.
And like everything where they're like, yeah, you know that thing that you should know exactly because this is how the world works. Yeah, but you know all about that,
yeah,
right?
But then what's worse is when you like you're getting down on like a new sci-fi IP. It's like, you know, Jupiter Rising or whatever the fuck that Mila Kunis movie was, or something like that.
Christ.
And they do the opposite where they introduce so many new words and concepts into like a paragraph of dialogue that you're like, okay, you're clearly like trying to flood me and set me up to just accept this like new world of stories that you're just about to roll up to my front door.
I'm so transported.
Yeah, I can't wait to learn all about that shit.
There's a fine line you have to ride.
Meanwhile, when I'm in like driving on 65, like turning my car onto auto, like to drive itself, and me on like Google, like, what does this mean?
What is a meltagun?
And then Warhammer 40K.
What does macro mean?
Yeah, it's like,
what does macro mean?
What does macro mean? But yeah. Meanwhile, it's like I'm literally doing something that's important, and I go,
is macro same as Wumbo?
The direct opposite of this. I watched the Zack Snyder, whatever the fucking sci-fi, his Star Wars that he did on Netflix.
Yeah,
Rebel Moon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Rebel Moon. Yeah, I watched the first one. It's the exact opposite of this, where he explains dick, and so you're just like, I'm like, what does that mean? What is that?
What's so interesting though is that there's movies like that where sometimes, like, obviously, especially, it's like there's difference with like watching at home and watching at theater. There's like movies like you're saying, like Jupiter, what is it?
Jupiter Ascendant Jupiter Rising?
Yeah, it's like where they overwhelm you, and it's like to watch that in a movie theater would be really hard because you can't pause it, you can't do shit. But then watching on the couch maybe a second time, or, you know, the first time, you can pause and maybe try to figure it out, rewind. But then there's what were you just saying?
Rebel Moon.
No, before that.
Oh, like the
Oh, yeah. So like, yeah. So but there's movies though that don't explain anything, like Tenet, where like you have to watch it like 5 times to get it.
But that's a difference in like, no, like it values the rewatch, and it's a really good writing, because then you start seeing things and go, oh fuck,
that's true. It's not world building.
Yeah, like if you're doing world, like to me, like,
but I'm saying there's differences in movies where I watch it and I go, I'm so confused, and then other ones where I go, I'm so confused, and then I watch it again. I go, oh, this is
the only
smart.
time you're gonna hear me say anything good about isekais. But I think that's why, like, in that kind of storytelling where it's like, yeah, this main character has no fucking idea how any of this works. So explaining shit to them makes sense because you're like, wait, what?
Except
so
in
how do you do
Sword Art
this?
Online, where the main character explains everything to
other
everyone
people.
else,
Makes him seem like a massive asshole.
Beta access.
Yeah, because
seems like a fucking asshole. He's like, oh, actually, this is how the game works. You fucking newbie.
Yeah.
He's actually not supposed to have that sword. He's supposed to have a different sword.
Yeah. It is funny though, because that is true in Isekais. But then Sword Art Online, he's level 3,000, and he's the one explaining.
Well, it's like
everything else.
It's one of my favorite parts about like Bleach in a way where it's like, yeah, Ichigo has no fucking idea how the Soul Society works when he goes there. So when stuff happens, he's like, what the fuck? And then they go, yeah, dickhead, don't you know about spirit energy? And he's like, no, I don't. And then someone has to explain
it to me and the people watching.
Yeah, it's like, what?
But I love that because Renji also doesn't know just because
Renji's
he's
an idiot. Yeah.
But I love him.
Yeah. Renji and Ichigo both win in their respective lives because they got the wives that they need, like they needed. But like no, like that's kind of the thing you have like to do a story where you explain so much shit. You have to have a vehicle for the audience.
Well, that's where like
in a way
stuff
like
books and TV shows like do really well. Like especially Game of Thrones. Like I remember getting my mom into Game of Thrones. Like this was like a couple Christmases ago. Her being a teacher and stuff like that. She had like the big like 3 foot by 5 foot like sticky notes that you use for teaching, and I drew a family house because, to be fair, from the get-go they don't really explain anything and they'll use names, but it's one of those things. It's like
you don't really figure out the structure of every house until like mid-season 2.
Well,
I agree.
100%. The thing that I like about that though is that, with the exception of Ned, because that's what I think they do a good job. Ned Stark, for the most part, doesn't get a lot of like the lore explained to him because he knows a lot of it because he grew up in it. But then you get like Jon Snow, who's a kid learning shit. I get shit explained a little more.
Jon knows just as much as Ned.
Well, no, I mean like
I want to bring up a point now that we're talking about Game of Thrones. When we were watching it, Matt was talking about how much he hated Robb and Robb's decisions. But then watching 1917 and Robb Stark shows up, we all went, oh. Robb Stark is a great character.
Oh no, he's a great character. And the thing is, like, I can still like go fuck you idiot, but still love him as a character.
100%.
Because that's the thing. I do disagree with a lot of Robb's decisions.
And to be fair, also like I'll give you this. Like I can say from my point of view, seeing all the seasons, everything. I go, this guy's a fucking idiot and he's going to ruin everything. But I'll tell you, it goes against what I just said because I'm the guy that's like, oh, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to stay with the woman I love.
Yeah.
Like I will give you that. I'll give you that. Like 100% I go, but
that's the point that I was making when we were watching it. I was like, if it was you, you'd do the same thing.
But to be fair, though, Robb was in the very special position where he could have married anybody he wanted and then fucked whoever he wanted. That's a special. Well, that's a special play.
My thing is they didn't need the bridge that bad.
Well, the thing, yeah, you're kind of right.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
I watched all of Game of Thrones in like 2023, early 2023.
Yeah. I think about it all the time.
It is one piece of media that sticks with me. Where like even if it's I'll go like a while and I go, fuck, Jon Snow's a great character. And also they go, damn, I really fucking like
dude.
Or like I'll just at random I'll just go, fuck Theon. And just like this that'll be in my day-to-day life or like whatever. And I'm like, damn, Arya's a badass.
I see that actor in a bunch of other stuff and I'm just like, fuck that guy.
Well, no, I love in John Wick.
He was in something else that I saw way before Game of Thrones.
Okay.
I also didn't like him.
He kind of gets typecasted because of Game of Thrones. I feel like
that's awful.
Of like the little bitch character,
especially because like the thing is though, it's like especially as like not being the top tier actor where it's like you have the choice whether to take roles or not. You're like getting a role. They typecast you
to then get typecast,
and then you're like, well. I don't have that kind of fuck you money, so I'm going to take this role.
I wish that
and be the same role I've always been.
Ramsey Bolton. Ramsey Bolton should be fucking Robert Pattinson's Joker.
He could be a great Joker. I would want to see Barry Keoghan actually do it. To be fair, I don't really. I want Joker to stay in prison for this series. I want any other villains but Joker, to be fair. I want Joker to be like... Or at the very least, if you decide to bring him out, have him be like the finale villain. Like let Batman gain a bunch of shit, use Joker as like a criminal, like, you know, get in the minds of criminals thing, and then have that be like, oh, he knows you now because of those conversations.
That's been the best part about the Spider-Man game has been dealing with, other than now finally getting with Doc Ock as a villain, having all these other villains.
Yeah, just the B-listers.
Yes, that I'm like, oh,
well,
these are like the ones that he's normally dealing with. Because that's the thing, like he mentions, is he's like, oh, you again. I thought you know, and at the point before it all collapses, he's like, put them all in jail. And it's like something that it's, you know, it's,
that's what,
you know, a weekly villain of the week.
Well, that's what made the interesting thing of like, because Norman Osborn's in the game, and you're like, oh fuck, here. Green,
I was like,
you
when
assume,
is Green?
Green Goblin, and then
It's gonna be Goblin,
and then they don't.
He's Goblin,
and you're like, cool. And then you get to Spider-Man 2, and it's like Venom, and Venom's definitely the famous one in that game, but you're still dealing with Kraven the Hunter and like other villains. Where you're like, this is actually really cool. And then I still think they shit the bed with that storyline, but whatever.
There's a new Venom now, right, in the comics? Superior
Yeah,
Venom
I
or
don't think
something?
they know who he is yet.
They don't know.
Do
I'm
they?
calling it right now. It's Paul.
That's the thing. People are saying, wouldn't it be really fucking funny if it was Paul?
Who's Paul?
The guy
Mary
who's
Jane's
cucked Peter.
husband.
Yeah, Mary Jane's husband. Which by the way, I love comic book fans.
That is a cut.
Because Mary Jane had 2 kids with this, I guess 2 interdimensional kids. I don't know how the lore's stupid. But they get zapped out of existence.
No, they had 2 kids, main universe.
Oh, yeah.
And then the devil was like, give me your fucking kids.
Yeah. And
Rumpelstiltskin shows up.
basically.
Exactly.
But like people, I've
kids are mine.
I've never seen, and apparently it pissed off the writers too because they try to make it really
Grab a
emotional.
voodoo.
But nobody gives a fuck
With
about
those
Paul
piggies.
and his children. So when Paul's kids die or get zapped out of existence, Spider-Man fans were like cheering.
You're like, now she can leave him.
No, well, straight up, it was that, and then I'm pretty sure that the
Now she could leave
hashtag
him.
"fuck them kids" was trending. And it was all about Spider-Man, and I think the authors were like, "What the fuck is wrong with you guys?" And they're like, "We don't like your fucking shitty self-insert."
Don't you guys have phones?
Yeah. That's like when in the Sonic 3 movie when they show who
Maria
Maria
death.
died, people were cheering in the theater.
like, woo!
Yeah.
Because they had the balls to actually do it. That's,
Yeah.
that's the
That's
thing
tight.
that matters.
Even if they didn't directly shoot her, it's still a gun was fired, it caused an explosion, a little girl died, and it's like, because that's the thing, we all
That
just
kind of makes it more haunting too, because it was almost nobody's fault at that point.
and that's why like it made Gerald go crazy, where he blamed Gunn, and then he manipulated Shadow even more so. Because, you know...
Also, in that movie, there's that whole, like, oh, it's so funny, Jim Carrey versus Jim Carrey, and they're, like, spanking each other. And then there's that scene where he's like, you're no Maria. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, legitimately, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. That movie got deep.
Because they kind of, like, delve into that in Frontiers, in, like, the Eggman logs, where he's like, yeah, everybody loved my cousin Maria, and I never really understood, like... what she was doing to get that kind of attention
When I was right there. That was the thing. Yeah, that was one thing that... Well, that was one thing...
She was doing to get that kind
Well,
of
to be fair,
attention.
like, it was a thing that, like, it's... Especially with Frontiers, it is canonical. Yeah, Maria was, like... I think it's because she was sick. Everybody focused on her, and Eggman being a child who didn't get it...
She was that
like,
Make-A-Wish kid on the ship.
Yeah.
Well, like, that's... They apparently... I forget the actual... I think the lore reason was because...
With
the
her
gravity,
space aids.
Well,
Yeah.
because the gravity
That's
in
where it
space,
started.
like, put it in remission or whatever the fuck it was. I forget how.
Yeah, it put it,
Hell
like,
yeah.
at a point where it was manageable for her to live longer.
Yeah. But she was dying. And, like, that was why Gerald was trying to build the ultimate life form, was to find a cure. And because he made Shadow, so Maria had a friend, and then they were going to use Shadow and his fucking chaos energy.
They still
to fix
never
it.
explained how he went from a giant fucking Godzilla lizard with bubbles
To
Shadow
another
the Hedgehog.
hedgehog.
Well, I'm pretty sure he went with the mural of chaos that looked lizardy, and then supersonic.
Yeah, that makes the most sense. He tried both
Yeah,
designs.
but then the reason Shadow looks all dark and evil is because he had Doom DNA.
Hell yeah.
yeah.
It's me, Shadow, the devil from the
Bible.
Bible.
It's me, Shadow, the devil from Tekken.
True. In the new game,
Kinda has some
absolutely.
That would be
hair.
a fucking nightmare lore presentation to do on this podcast. Tekken
Tekken?
lore gets fucking insane.
It doesn't really get insane as much as it
It's
gets
just who's
absolutely
getting thrown in the volcano
stupid.
this
Yeah,
year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was,
More or less.
what
I
was
love
it?
the Kazuya trailer where he's just throwing everybody in the volcano.
No, dude, the Kazuya trailer for for Tekken 8 where he has a fucking sneaker collection. Like, or it's one of his victory screens where he like opens his closet and he's got like the most expensive sneaker collection and does like the dopest pose where like the Nagoshi pose where he puts one of the things up, shows off his kicks.
Dude, Nagoshi is unhinged.
I want to know what is he like fully retired from gaming or does he have another studio?
He works at another studio now, but I don't think he's a creative director anymore.
I would love to see what he would do next, genuinely, because like
I think they should bring him back for some of these redos that they're doing, like the Golden Axe and the.
Wait, who's Nagoshi?
The creator of Yakuza. And Super Monkey Ball.
Yeah,
what?
Same guy.
He went Super Monkey Ball Yakuza.
Yeah,
which is an insane pipeline.
So lit.
Dude. No, hearing about the Yakuza pitch.
So they're monkeys.
There's like a picture of him holding like a monkey ball and a polo T-shirt,
and then the
next picture of him that was ever taken.
Aren't there a lot of Super Monkey Ball Easter eggs like in Yakuza games?
There's a lot of Sega Easter eggs.
Yeah,
I mean go to any arcade in Yakuza.
The last Monkey Ball that came out, you can play as Kiryu collecting staminans instead of bananas. It's awesome.
The funniest thing too is hearing about the pitch for Yakuza, because this was before Sega and Sammy Incorporated like merged, and so he pitched it, and they're like, no, this is too we're a kid friendly whatever the fuck, even though I think they had other shit, but he was like, no one's gonna buy this, and so he's like, fuck. And so then in the merge between Sega and Sammy, he put together a presentation and basically forced it into the
he fought tooth and fucking nail to get Yakuza made.
And then not only that, but whenever they gave him the okay, he goes, cool, I need the largest budget you've ever given a video game. And they're like, what the fuck do you mean? He's like, no, trust me. And that's how they have all those advertisements in the games.
It's also crazy because at that point it would have been like, what if Shenmue was good?
Right?
I mean,
Sega would have been like, nope.
Yeah, because Sega loves Shenmue so much, and I don't get it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I guess I kind of do in like the idea of what it was doing, but like,
I think Shenmue is a great concept, and it obviously led to Yakuza.
Because I think Nagoshi had to finish too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was not getting it, so they were like, Nagoshi, help.
Mm-hmm. But then, like, if they love it so much, make RGG do the remakes and just make it good. And then from that point onward, that dickhead that makes all the new ones can be like, oh, this is what people liked about the last one. I'll make a new one with that stuff. Because think 3 fucking sucks.
I think the problem is that, like, at this point, it would just be like Fist of the North Star, where it's like, it's just Yakuza, but with a new skin on it.
That's what it is.
But what I'm saying is, like, Yakuza at least is like fun side content, like where it's like, oh, I'm like in Shenmue, it's like, go do your part-time job.
But
if
you don't think that
content.
people who love Shenmue would just buy a remake?
Oh, they would, but the problem is, I genuinely think there would be I genuinely think there would be people who like would get upset if Shenmue became way more action heavy.
Oh, 5
and
people.
Way more,
I don't think so.
Five people who are actively online.
To be fair, yeah.
Because every review of Shenmue that I've ever seen is like, I have to wait for this fucking clock to run down, and there's nobody to fight, and there's nothing to do. And Yakuza is like all action all the time.
Yeah, you just go down a different alley and get in a fight.
Exactly. There's motherfuckers that want smoke all the time.
Yeah.
But you can also, like, cook and fish and, like, help pay the rent and like,
talk to bad bitches.
Talk to bad bitches, sing at a bar about being sad about your orphanage.
Try not to fall asleep at the theater.
Yeah.
Dude, no, that's I think why Yakuza is just the better Shenmue, because it's like, it literally takes that idea of, but what if we did Shenmue but made it not suck?
I mean,
and that was the idea.
To be fair, in Zero, I did not continue the story just to finish Real Estate Royale. I was like, this is the best shit.
Yeah.
I gotta finish this.
Thing,
And also, it gives me so much money.
Like
so much money.
In Yakuza, like, the side content is some of the best shit ever, though, because it's like, oh, what's like the main, like in Like a Dragon,
a chicken was a manager.
Dude, in Like a Dragon, I had
Michael
like
Jackson.
Nugget.
It was really funny in Like a Dragon.
Nugget,
Miracle Jackson.
Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
There's Miracle Jackson. We had.
I think it's really funny that after all that shit happened, they never brought up Miracle Jackson again.
What are you talking about?
All the Michael Jackson stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it's after all the 80s, it was like, oh, nope, he's not here anymore.
It's also really funny that they included that, because Matt didn't know that Michael Jackson did the music for Sonic 3 until recently.
Did not know.
Yeah.
Because we watched...
I didn't know that.
Well, it was...
Yeah, that's why whenever they come out with a collection or whatever, they have to do, like, remix songs instead of the originals.
Because they don't have the rights, because of Michael Jackson.
Because we watched the Weird Al movie that with Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, sick. Was it good?
Incredible.
Really funny.
So funny. And they kept on doing this thing where like a plot point was that Michael Jackson, that Weird Al made an original song called Eat It. And then Michael Jackson made Beat It as a parody to Eat It, which is the opposite of what happened. And I was like, what is this thing with the Michael Jackson estate? And you're like, dude, it's crazy. Like, and then you told me about how Sonic 3, and I was like, what?
Yeah, because Michael Jackson was a huge fucking Sonic fan. And so he reached out to Sega.
Actually, that's why Sega was able to make Moonwalker.
The kids at the place were a big Sonic fan.
That's fair. Yep.
Yeah.
The kids at the place.
Yeah.
All the kids who slept over at
Michael
Jackson's.
all the kids.
They were the Sonic fans.
They go, do we have
Michael Jackson was like, this is a huge in for little boys.
Hey kids, did you know I did the music for the third one?
Whoa, really?
Yeah, you want to come sleep over and play the game
yes!
again? What was, have you seen the Super Mega like skit where they're like Michael Jackson's PR team?
Oh yeah.
Fucking
it's like
gold.
a minute and 30 seconds or something.
It's they're like, okay, Michael, you it's sleepovers. You slept on the floor. They had the bed.
And then it's just them like behind a camera, like,
fuck. No, and then he's. I want to throw on TV when we get done because that it's so funny. That and the Fortune Cookie one are some of their best.
Dude, when does the DMC anime come out?
April something or other.
Okay.
Last of Us comes out next month as well.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Last of Us 2.
Last of Us the anime.
Last of Us the live action series.
No,
I wished everything was an anime. It would just be so good.
Dude,
even
Full
though,
House
to be
the
fair,
anime?
Fire.
Wait, what?
Full House the anime?
Yeah.
Oh, it'd be so sick.
Yeah,
So
the
They wouldn't have
Brady
to worry
Bunch,
about
the anime.
child labor laws.
Tiny Toon Adventures the anime
Dude, Tiny Toon Adventures, the Sega Genesis game,
was very hard.
it was really hard, but it was so fucking good.
Yeah, it was really good. So was Tarzan.
You know,
all
Cody,
those fucking old
Alien
Disney
3.
games.
Cody, we usually when we have guests, we ask like some like what are your top video games and some like formative games when you were a child. You want
Video games?
Yeah.
Formative video games?
Yeah, like when you were a kid. Because hold on, a little precursors. You were telling me that like your mom was quite the gamer.
Oh, shit.
Which was BJ. BJ was telling BJ's
Yeah, my parents were huge gamers too. So was my grandparents, really.
Yeah, my mom is the reason I game. So, like, we got a PlayStation 1 because my mom wanted a PlayStation. And the first game she ever played was Castlevania Symphony of the Night.
Oh, great starting point.
So I watched her beat that. I watched her beat every Tomb Raider, like 1 through 5. I watched her beat Resident Evil 2 and 3.
That's what my parents were really in it for, was Resident Evil.
And so yeah, and she was like really into like slasher flicks and horror films growing up, so that really formed my taste around like Aliens, Predator, Freddy, Michael, things like that.
That was one of the most favorite things of watching with BJ was him watching Alien and Aliens for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Which was only like less than a year ago.
Yeah, it's been like 6 months.
Aliens, James Cameron's Aliens is like one of my favorite movies of all time. It would have to be like top 3 for sure.
One of the best like switcheroos were in the first one.
It's horror.
The replicant is like the bad guy.
Dude.
Aliens, the replicant's the
replicant's the homie.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not trusting this motherfucker.
Yeah.
And then at the end, what a
super homie.
dude!
I'm
we watched.
I'm waiting for Persona.
We
to
watched.
flip that
We
script.
watched Romulus a couple weeks ago,
where
and
they what is it with the like the face swapping technology?
like deepfake.
deepfaking.
They deep faked
The first
Bilbo
one.
Baggins.
We saw that and we were like, fucking shit, this guy's back.
He's
Dude.
alive. Such a great pull. Such a great pull.
Amazing.
I thought the "get away from her, you bitch" line was kind of like a cheap thing. The delivery kind of fell flat for me when they
Move
when
the
he did
mic a
finally
little bit
say
closer
it.
to you.
Yeah, you got it. No, just the
there you go.
delivery fell really flat for me on that. But I did like that movie a lot.
Dude,
I thought it was a good
the
alien
actual
movie.
bad alien at the end, terrifying.
Terrifying, and that's just like a 7-foot dude from Ukraine too.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
I heard he wasn't in like any makeup at all.
Who's
too.
the
His
guy-
teeth just
Yeah.
look like that.
Blah!
Suka! Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that thing. That gave me chills.
It's
when
a
that thing
nightmare
came
That
off
was the
the
thing.
screen.
We talked about it before, where it's like, you know, you see Alien, and then like after a while, like the xenomorph starts to be like less scary. In a
But that's
way.
why in Aliens, it's you're like one.
What if there was a fuckload?
Yeah,
of them?
then that becomes scarier than just one.
But like watching
because the first one gives you a sense of how to beat one.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
what was it like Prometheus? When we watched that, I wasn't really like. I was kind of like, oh, whatever. And then
but it's David.
David is the real scary.
But
Yes.
he becomes way more scary in the fucking sequel, where I'm more terrified of Michael Fassbender than anything else in that movie. Especially by the end, when it's like, right, Dave, or was it David? Yeah, or it's like, oh, we're gonna go to that thing like I promised, and he's like, what? And
he's like, oh yeah, that thing.
Yeah, right. She's like, oh fuck, and he's like, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
No,
yeah.
well, I think like for the most part, like just the Alien series is just like there's not a bad movie. No. I'm sorry. I lied. What's
Resurrection?
Resurrection is genuinely just
dog shit.
It's still so much fun to watch because you enjoy how pulpy and kind of shitty
it's like campy, like
but being
sci-fi
like
schlock.
lore nerds and stuff like that, you go, okay, so she's the queen.
Oh, so his coffee mug's a gun? That's what you're telling me? We got coffee guns.
Mug guns? We have mug guns now?
Did you?
No, but that's what's great about Aliens is, you watch Alien and you're like, well, damn, if they just had like, I don't know, like 5 to 7 to 10 dudes with guns, they'd have had it, right? And then you get to that scenario and they're like, oh, they don't have it no matter what. Fuck, this sucks.
I love how the creative they have to get to kill some of these things because it's straight up like
they're like she uses a forklift at the end of Aliens, like our version of a forklift.
Well, like
power loader,
the one in Romulus where it's like she literally had to do like almost a suicide like move where like anything goes wrong she's dead too to kill the fucking thing, where it's like that's the only way to kill these things. It's like you have to do out of pocket like. This is only good. This might not work.
The best parts of Romulus are right at the end.
Yeah, 100%.
Like seeing the ship crash into the ring of the planet, I was so hyped for that, and then they actually show it in full scale, and I was like,
dude, that shit was tight.
About how the rings were like slowly grinding up.
Slowly
like,
just
if you were taking a
microscope
to like wood against a belt sander, that's exactly
what it would look like.
Yes.
I love too is the beginning part was great because it was hella tense. And then what's the replicant in that movie's name?
Like,
the black dude,
like Bobby.
Yeah,
like Old Sam or something like that.
This is
Uncle Ruckus.
Yeah, it's just Terry. His name was Terry.
Yeah, no, I was gonna be like, all right, it's the alien version of Song of the South.
I think it's John Quandius.
Yeah, John Quavius. I'm sorry.
This is
I'm not.
This is John Quavius from State Farm now.
Speaking of, hold on, we got 93% of you aren't subscribed to this fucking podcast.
Hey, you want to hear more racist jokes like that?
Yeah.
Subscribe.
And then speaking of where we get our income, thanks to our shout out.
Yo, W!
Like $9 of income every 6 months.
Yeah.
It still works.
Yeah, shout out to our sponsor W because we get the discount code for being,
for being chill.
Being hella chill. So use codes Take It Sleazy at checkout for 10% off your order. And back to our scheduled craziness. So what was the first gaming system you had?
I had a Super Nintendo.
Ooh.
Then I had a Sega Saturn.
Ooh.
I know nobody who had a Saturn.
Yeah, dude. I had a Saturn. I can't remember a single fucking game we had on. You had Virtua Fighter. I know I had Virtua Fighter.
Did you have Golden Axe?
Golden Axe wasn't on the
Golden Axe
was has Genesis, I think.
Oh, Sega. Okay, one generation.
Knights was on the Saturn.
Yeah.
Knights was on the Saturn, and I wanted Knights.
Was Saturn their first actual 3D, or was that technically Dreamcast?
It
was like a weird thing where it could do 3D, kinda.
I think the Sega CD could, it was technically first.
Technically, yeah, because like even if you can even count the Sega CD as a console.
Give me a twisted.
Because the first 3 Sega consoles after the Master System were just the Genesis and the Genesis's add-ons.
Yeah. And then Saturn,
I do love like all the peripherals of old consoles.
But like the Sega straight up made.
I wish there was something I could like one big block I could put on top of my Xbox.
Yeah,
that made it do something
into
different.
my computer and then plug in more plastic.
They go backwards, and now like the Xbox has a cartridge drive.
Yeah,
dude,
that would be sick. I don't know what you're talking about.
Actually,
I don't know if that was a joke.
That'd be sick as
With
fuck.
people clamoring to own their media, that's actually not a bad way to sell some plastic.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
that's
true.
The thing,
Everyone's like going away from plastic.
Yeah, the kids want their records. The kids want to collect vinyl again, right?
I do.
This boy wants his steel books.
That's my
Dude,
thing. I fucking love steel
I lived
books.
with a guy who loved collecting steel books and vinyls.
Dude,
so.
this guy bought
Saints Row.
The shit reboot
yeah.
because it came with a steelbook.
both of these.
Are steelbooks still a thing? Are they still making new steelbooks?
The thing is,
But
now,
a lot of the time they'll sell you the steelbook with no disc.
yeah,
Yes, that's
Yeah,
how it.
that's what Avoweds is, which I still haven't bought yet, but I'm waiting for the price to drop. But it's because it's the premium
He'll get
edition. I'm not paying.
He'll probably
$100.
buy it tonight after a
Xenoblade
couple more
3
drinks.
Collector's Edition is affordable now. I looked it up.
It is.
They're mostly like $100 on eBay.
Well, is that the Japanese or English? Because the Japanese always was affordable, and the
It's-
English one was the one that was like, here's the whole
the
collection.
ones that I was
no
looking
game
at
though.
were rated T.
Okay,
So
yeah, to English.
Well,
Yeah,
so
the-
sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, go.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say, I mentioned earlier I played 46, or I read 46 Warhammer books in 2024, but I also played like 20 Warhammer video games in
Are
2024.
there really that many?
Yeah.
Well, how many of them are
I know
Total War?
I know that there's
Say
a couple total. Isn't there a
I didn't play a
tactics?
single Total War game.
Isn't there a tactics game?
There's
Mechanicus is kind of
Tacticus, which
Tactics,
is like
yeah.
a tactic style Mechanicum
Tacticus,
game,
yeah.
and then there's
the Diablo
you have
clone.
Mechanicus.
Yeah, because after he did the presentation, I have a huge
Dude,
Switch
Mechanicus
collection.
is one of the best ones. That game is so fucking
That's good because I went in to look at my Switch collection. I
He
was
has like
I think
over
I
400
have-
games in his Switch collection, like
I'll
physical.
show you
yeah.
after this. You just have to not pay attention to all the clothes on the floor.
Okay.
But I was like, yeah, I think I have a Warhammer game, and I was looking through my Switch stuff, and I had Mechanicus.
That's so tight that they published it on the Switch. Yeah, dude, there is a Diablo clone. That's
That one's the
Inquisitor.
Inquisitor, yeah.
That one's good.
That one I'd like to try.
There's an XCOM clone called
Hell yeah!
called Chaos Gate, and your Grey Knights. So you're
that's
hiring and
gosh.
customizing your Grey Knight armor for each
That's
dude, and
Cool.
I fuck with XCOM. I think
Yeah,
I love a
dude.
good tactics kind of game, so
Yes.
I fuck with that one.
What was the what was? Oh, I mean, I played XCOM like on my PSP.
Yeah, I did because XCOM had the biggest one was when they did XCOM 2 finally. That was on like the 360, and then
Because even on the PSP, there were the XCOM style games like Rainbow. There was a Rainbow Six, or no, not Rainbow
the Tom
Six.
Clancy game.
The Tom Clancy game. And even at that point, there's
What you know about
Killzone.
Metal Gear Acid.
Isn't Killzone like an XCOM style?
No, Killzone was a Halo killer. Halo.
dude, it was
No,
the
but on the
first Halo
PSP,
killer.
on the PSP, it was top down.
It might have been. It might have just been like a twin stick where it was still a shooter.
Oh,
But
okay.
like because yeah.
Oh yeah,
that-
like Silent Hill, Book of Memories or whatever.
yeah.
Like, well, honestly, more like Hotline Miami.
Yeah.
I
Where
love
you're- where-
Hotline Miami.
Love.
Great soundtrack.
Have you played
Phenomenal
Hotline
soundtrack.
Miami?
No, I haven't.
Just listen to the soundtrack. It's just like that like
Fair.
synth.
I'm pretty sure
Vapor- it's
Carpenter Brute is on that soundtrack.
Yeah.
It's like
is.
vaporwave synth like 80s style.
Very fast
Oh,
paced.
and Magic Sword.
Yeah, Magic
Oh, okay. Tight. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
No, like that. What was you were saying like XCOM? Yeah. Killzone's really funny because like I remember when I remember like what was it was the phone for PS3 where that was like one of the first trailers. They're like, "Whoa, dude, this looks so sick." Game
like,
looked nothing like
I
that.
forgot all about Killzone until Helldivers
Well, the
2.
first Killzone was on the PS2.
Yeah.
But until Helldivers did their Killzone crossover, and I was like, "Oh, like Killzone's a thing."
I
be
want to
fair-
buy that just so I can look like the fucking wolf.
Yeah.
Jinro, right behind it, right over Cody's
Our
head.
God and Savior Jinro.
Such a good fucking.
It's an
Okay,
anime
well,
movie
sorry.
that's
really good
absolutely
intro, and then we got like
I'll
all
tell
this,
you.
got really bored and kind of were like, yeah, whatever. And then the ending was like, oh fuck.
It's
On first watch of Jinro, you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is peak," and then you're gonna be like, "Oh, this is okay. This is kind of getting like really boring," and then you'll get right to the end, and you'll be like, "Oh fuck, I'm back in, and everything else is peak."
yeah. Then the
Nice.
whole movie becomes peak.
So it's like Princess Mononoke. That was literally how I felt the first time I watched Princess Mononoke as a kid. I was like, "This is tight," and then I was like, "What's going on? What's really cool here?" And
there is some weird like slow politics things where it's just the kid could go like arguing with people like, "No, we gotta save the forest."
I feel
And
like
they're like, "We need to support all these people that are alive." So that movie is very interesting in that way, where it's like everybody's kind of right, and they're doing things to support themselves for different reasons. But
well, I mean, the whole thing is just that, like, now, like, people need to look out for themselves and not the Earth anymore, and it's just like the time for the Earth to die.
Yeah.
Not like to that extent, but you get what I'm saying. It's like,
I feel like a lot of
because it's the whole thing was like, oh, animals aren't speaking because they become
they become like frenzied because of the humans' influence on them. I will say they need to sue Nintendo because Breath of the Wild absolutely ripped that shit off.
Yeah, 100%.
We watched that a couple weeks ago.
No, it was like 2 months ago.
Nintendo.
Yeah, the fucking Nintendo ninjas are gonna kill
Yeah,
you.
like 2 months ago. Yeah.
So Studio Ghibli
refreshing
shuts its doors for
my go-to Studio Ghibli movie is obviously Howl's.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie.
Obviously.
Dude, I think mine's The Boy and the Heron after that movie came out. Honestly,
that was incredible.
The Boy and the Heron was one of the first.
We waited like so many podcast nights because we usually watch a movie at the end of podcast night, and I've waited so long for it to be free on streaming on HBO because for a while it was like the $20 to like.
Oh right.
Yeah, and so finally
or
one
night,
night,
like $20 to rent, where it's like $30 to buy it, and it's like 20 or 15 to rent. And you're like, fuck that.
Yeah, so finally it was just free on HBO, and I went, thank God.
Yep. It was
so
the
good.
first one that like actually got me like choked up, feeling tight in my chest watching an anime movie.
It's about him.
Yeah, dude, the part where he like the girl goes back and it's his mom, and he's like, "You're gonna be like such a like I'm so glad you're my son." I was like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah,
I love watching emotional movies with these guys because they haven't seen a lot of like really emotional movies.
Little Miss Sunshine was the one.
Little Miss Sunshine is the best one.
Everything Everywhere All at Once for me. When me, him, and Carmen watched that, I was fucking sobbing.
All of us were bawling our eyes out, especially at the end with Wayman.
Wayman is the part where Wayman is like, I just love people. I was like,
and then we got Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting fucked me up.
I don't know why though you didn't get fucked up by Billy Elliot.
Billy Elliot, because for me the main character is his best friend. Like that's the part that I connect to the most in that movie. Billy himself, he's just kind of
because he's bi.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
But like him discovering himself and everything, that was a way better storyline for me.
For sure.
And
Green Mile or Green Book. We haven't watched Green Mile.
Green Book was incredible.
Green Book was incredible.
Phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
I referenced that when I was on the way home when my heater broke in my car. I was like, I feel like I'm in the fucking Green Book, wiping off the windows.
Dude, what was the other one with Ryan Gosling?
Lars and the Real Girl.
Oh my God.
Lars and the Real Girl is hilarious and so goddamn sad.
Yeah.
So sad. And then at the end, at the end of that movie, they're always like, haha, it was all a joke. Because remember at the funeral? And he goes, yeah, you want to go on for a walk?
Jesus.
You're like,
well, because like the whole movie is this clearly like autistic guy who doesn't know how to deal with like a little bit of like childhood trauma, and then like can't talk to women.
There's such childhood trauma with the dad that beat him, but
but then like he can't talk to women, he can't deal with social cues, and then like
as an adult he just wants a girlfriend.
But then like the idea of like he gets this real doll, and then the town like helps him use this doll to get over this thing, and like she dies.
Oh my God.
The moment she dies. And like
because Lars is the one that brings it up, and she's like, she's really sick.
She's really sick, and they take her to the hospital and everything, and the whole community.
And they're like, she's gonna get better, and she's like, she's not, and you're like, what the fuck, Lars?
The best part of that movie is that the community supports him and is trying to help him the whole time.
Absolutely love that movie.
It's
that would be a good one to put on in Discord.
Yeah, because it would be really funny. Well,
I don't know.
Ezra might make fun of it.
Well,
like the whole time.
I don't know. Like I've heard like. Being just who I am, being gay.
We're still figuring that one out.
I do like asking people like personal questions.
You know that,
and that's not always the mood of Discord.
Yeah, to be fair,
that's true.
That's true. And so it's like a lot of times it's like in an afternoon I'll hop in and there's one other person there. I'll go like, "How's your day?"
Think if you
and I'll go like, "Actually, how is your day?" And so, but there's like a thing there. It's like. I have such a connection to like disability in my life where it's like, you know, I and I'm also an emotional dude. You know, this is me, like 4 drinks in, being real,
an emotional dude,
being an emotional, being an emotional dude. It's like it's definitely one of those things where it's like Lars and the Real Girl is such a connection to like,
but I think
where I come from of like, especially now with my sister being an adult and like just trying to figure out adult things, and there's so much that she's, you know, she doesn't have her dad who was her best friend.
Have you watched Ranking of Kings?
No. But that's not true. I've seen the first 2.
You probably would actually really like that.
You would really fuck with that show.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm saying it's like being in Discord. I would want to show it in Discord, but I don't know how many people would actually.
But I think if you did it in like our server with like Cody, Avery, Kyle,
Lee's
homies.
an emotional. Adam would love it. Adam's down. Billy,
I fuck with Adam. So
I'm
hard.
saying to Cody,
Dude, Billy's
like
a sweetheart, baby.
Adam's the kindest person in the Discord, and Billy's the sweetest. Like absolutely.
It legitimately pissed me off, that text you got from Adam.
What?
He because Matt has been playing Elden Ring and Armored Core.
Oh, I know, dude.
Adam.
Hey, let me tell you something. Adam fucking works for the CIA or some shit, dude. Adam is that guy that's like, oh, what? You got a Discord of 20...
It was on the day that my dad died, and he was just sent me a really sweet message.
No, not that one.
Oh, okay.
No, dude.
Thing.
Adam is like,
yeah.
You got a Discord of 20 different dudes. I'll roll in and make them all my friend and get them all liking exactly what I like.
So, BJ and Luke, like right when I started getting on the podcast, was right when Elden Ring was out, and they would have episodes about it, and I just like couldn't talk about it. And so I tried playing it, and I tried to fight the first dude I saw, and I died, and I was like, "Fuck this game."
Was it the Tree Sentinel?
No. It was the Wolfman.
It's the first cave that's right behind.
From
the Tree
software
Sentinel in the
games, it's gotta. They just grab you at the right time. They come along in your life right at the right moment, and that's when it's time to get into them.
For me. So it was.
You fuck with Sekiro though, which I respect.
Yeah, I do. I did. Fuck
Once you find the one you like, then you're pilled, and you go, well, now I just want to play them all.
So I started. So when Adam and I broke co-op Armored Core, I was like, well, fuck. We literally broke the game because the co-op was a beta. The co-op mod was a beta. We broke the game, corrupted our game files, and he was like, "Well, we could always play Elden Ring co-op." And I was like, "Dude, I've tried, and I don't like the game. My play style is not how it is. I just go in and I die." And he goes, "Well, like I'll play with you," and I was like, "Fine." It was in BJ's like Steam Deck library or Steam library because we're like Steam family.
Family Steam.
And so I download it. We do co-op, and I start playing. I tell Luke and BJ, and they're like, "Well." Like, oh, I guess
Adam tells you to play Elden Ring, and you play Elden Ring.
Yeah,
no shit.
And then I'll come home and I'll be like, "Oh, how's being carried tonight?"
Yeah, and so I sent the group chats with them to Adam, and he was like, "Ha ha ha." Honestly, it'd be really cool to connect with them. Like I'm always.
I was like, we just need to tell Adam to tell you to play games.
Yeah, like when Adam
was like, that'll make me more connected to them.
Hey, Adam, you should tell Matt to play Super Robot Wars T on Nintendo Switch.
So
he would fucking love
Super
Robot
Wars.
The
text was. Wait, this is actually genius because it gives me an avenue to become better homies with them.
I heard that and I was like,
dude,
fuck,
Adam's
so
the
nice.
nicest person in the world.
But I'm telling you, that's what he does. That's what he did to Lee. Lee got into the Discord. Now we all like Elden Ring. And Adam's he's going to take your friends. And then they're just all going to be in the same shit.
Maul, when he got into the Discord, this is before me, but I learned about the lore of Maul. Maul was a Counter-Strike FPS kind of guy.
Didn't play any of that shit.
Didn't play because he was into Counter-Strike.
And now it's all he fucking likes.
All he liked. Yep,
yeah,
it's true. And then when Adam went to Texas, he met Maul in real life.
Yep,
that made me happy.
I think there is a pipeline though of like hardcore like FPSs where it's like sweaty to Elden Ring where it's like
there's a point where you sweat too much and you're like, I need something else.
But there is that level of competitiveness, but against computers, where like you're not dealing with another
real
sweaty
people.
person.
Yeah. I can't text in the chat like derogative statements.
Like the Rogue One thing where it's like you waste all your talents on single player games, and he's like, it's a peaceful life.
Yeah. Well, because that's the thing is like I feel like if you play like Counter-Strike or any of these like hardcore shooters, you probably could go into Elden Ring or like Dark Souls, and you kind of have an understanding of I'm gonna die a shit ton. That does not faze me. I'm gonna keep going until I fucking beat this piece of shit.
I mean, I was kind of that guy.
That's how you have like Kai Cenat and all these other dudes like streaming like Elden Ring runs now. They realize like, oh man,
Dude,
there's something
Arkham,
about that level of sweat.
Did you see his Arkham shit? Dude.
Yeah, so he got like he was in a streaming from like a mansion that was supposed to be a Wayne Manor.
Oh, really?
He did like sets and costumes and stuff.
Full
and now,
Batman gear playing.
And Rocksteady was like, oh, maybe people want a new Batman. It's like, we've been saying that for fucking
That's
years.
not a VR game.
Hey, fuck Rocksteady.
Apparently
dude.
the VR game is really fucking good.
Oh, shut up.
No,
Okay.
I'm saying, again, you're the VR people. I hate VR. But like,
I haven't touched my VR in a year and a half.
I bought a Quest 2
have a
in
VR,
2022.
I
and
still
I
have a
haven't
Quest.
touched that
I have a
bitch.
Quest 1.
You know what my favorite thing I did on my Quest 2 was? I downloaded that Meet the Obamas, and I said, oh, hey, look at this. I'm sitting in the White House next to Barack Obama.
Dude,
He's smaller in person. Goddamn.
At least like 6 months ago, every 3 months they would try to do like a lot, like in Fortnite, how they do like concerts. They would try to do like live events in Quest.
wasn't there an Avenged Sevenfold?
Yeah, I mean there was tons of
Sick.
concerts.
I saw that as the actual just video that they put on their YouTube channel because they're like, nobody fucking watched that shit there, so we're gonna put it up here.
Yep.
And Shocker got like a shit ton of views there.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Crazy. VR, the super niche.
I think what would fix that is if they did Fortnite VR and did all their musical things on there. Because then they can just conflate those numbers with the regular players.
The thing with VR, and the thing that's going to make VR more accessible is if you can get a relatively cheaper hardware. Because even PlayStation VR, most people like got the first one, oh, this is sick, and then all the retention started going down.
I told
is
you
the most competent and accessible too.
I told you the way that I want to play VR is, first of all, I don't want to. I'm down with the chip in my head.
Yeah, I just waiting for full dive. I want to get Chrome the fuck out.
Yeah, I'm waiting for full dive. And the other thing is, I'm okay with not using my arms to do things. I'm okay with playing on a controller, but give me the ability to be like, wow.
Well, and the other problem is the fucking UI. Like in every, you've got to have, this virtual web desktop viewer, and then you need Steam OS, but there's also the OS like in the meta screen, and it doesn't all talk to each other seamlessly enough. It's a bunch of bullshit.
I still feel like that's the thing with like playing on just Steam or like a console is it just works. You press power, you turn it on, pick the thing, go. Whereas VR, every time I see people like set up a VR thing, it's like, I want to play this game. I got like a 10 to 20 minutes of setup and have to make sure.
All right, what platform's it on? I've got to be in the right UI for that platform.
I have to move my room around.
Yeah,
I
have to set up my station.
That's why the perfect representation of VR is Resident Evil VR on the PSVR. Because the first time that I played that, I'd already played through the game like 9 fucking times, getting extra ammo
on the Quest 2 for RE4. There is an option to do chair mode.
Shit.
That's what 7 and 8 are in VR. You just sit in your office chair and you have your controller.
Yes, that's how
it's peak.
That's the shit I'm talking about, because I saw a video of there's apparently some guy who has like, it's like a mod that you can do where you can take a lot of games that are made in a lot of different like common engines.
I've seen this.
And
Cyberpunk works on it now.
Cyberpunk VR. You still play with a controller, but your head movement is all VR controlled.
Or even just like, hey, here's my tower, here's my keyboard and mouse, and instead of a monitor, I just put my headset on and I'm fucking chilling that way. Like that, I think would make it more accessible.
That's what I think they need to do to really help, because that's the thing that would get people who don't know VR to kind of get in. Well,
that's where like the Apple what's
Vision,
already discontinued, not supported by Apple anymore.
Well, it's like that. It's like they had the thing where it's like you can, just connect to your computer and do different desktop screens. But the problem is with all of the VR is there's just eye strain. Like no matter what you're doing, you're dealing with eye strain.
You're dealing with tension headaches, dude.
Oh my gosh! So that's where it's like the second I get to plug a chip in and do that,
I'm done.
I will.
I'll risk the infections from the port. Like, dude, sign me up.
I'll die watching a BD.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna be the wait. I'm gonna wait for everybody else to beta test that shit for me, and then when they go, hey,
but
the risks are like very low.
But they go, ooh, VR chip steelbook, and you go,
what the fuck is this steel? What the? Oh, the things that come in a steelbook.
You'd buy, you go, nah.
Well, now I have to have the steelbook for the chip.
Dude, Cyberpunk
that
2077.
Is true because you buy 2 versions of every book.
Not every book.
A lot of books.
A lot of books.
Witcher and Red Rising.
Last week, you said, I prefer to have the audiobook and the physical book.
I'm not paying for that. Well, I guess I pay the monthly thing for that, for sure. But no, like,
that's that woman math.
In terms of, in terms of, like, books, if I like a series like Witcher, I'll have the paperbacks. I'm throwing my backpack, and that's going with me places. Then I have, like, the on-the-shelf hardback.
I will say,
I will probably take out, maybe read once, but that's going to stay on the
shelf.
shelf.
When I first got into Witcher, I did buy the box set
of like the first 2 or 3.
No, like I think it's the first.
It's the first 4 because I bought the same thing.
The first 4, even though I had never touched it because I'm an audiobook fiend. Yeah. But yes, I do get that. But to be fair, I did that once just because I was into it, and I want the box set on my shelf.
Speaking of audiobooks, I have to bring this up because I told it to you. And nobody else on this podcast cares, but maybe Millie will. I read.
Listen up,
Butterfly
Millie.
Garden.
Stop what you're doing.
Read the Butterfly Garden. It's incredible. I read The Roses of May, which is the second in that series. Not half as good. The main character always talks about how her sister got murdered, which that's the whole plot. But like it started off as like a Hannibal-esque series.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, it's the FBI and they're trying to catch these people.
Yeah.
And then this second book is all about this girl that like binge eats Oreos because she's sad. And like it makes me think about Hayden from GameStop because there's this story where
he's sad too.
Well, no, because he fucks
Oreos.
with Oreos that hard.
Have you heard the RoboCop Oreo thing?
Yes.
Okay.
What?
Okay.
So
this whole thing is when they were shooting the original RoboCop movies. Apparently, what's the actor's name? I don't know.
The guy that plays RoboCop versus like a PA.
Super into Oreos, and there was this one part where he wanted to do the scene in the warehouse in the first movie where he was like, I need my Oreos. And
RoboCop needs Oreos.
Yeah, he said.
What he fucking
Yeah,
says.
RoboCop. Well, that's what the PA claims. Is that he said RoboCop?
But RoboCop himself says, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about whenever this comes up.
Exactly. But the PA was like, and to be fair, I almost feel like I'm on the RoboCop side because this PA is just trying to like create some story of being a PA.
But I fuck with that guy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd be him.
But I'm saying, like, I get the thought of this PA just trying to create.
PA was like talking about like this is such a weird day on set.
Yeah,
we just really fucking.
Where Robo says RoboCop needs his Oreos, and he goes, no, like say it right.
Say
like,
it how you're supposed to.
Normal.
Yeah, say it normal. He goes, RoboCop needs Oreos. And he goes, I'm not gonna get these Oreos if he doesn't fucking ask for them normally. And then
he crumbles the Oreos.
And then he was like in the warehouse crumbling them in front of RoboCop. But the best part though, hold on, I want you to tell Cody the story of the RoboCop meme.
Okay, so
I don't know if I've laughed harder.
There's this meme that I saw that's like at a convention. There's the guy that plays RoboCop and this woman that's wearing a T-shirt that says, "Remember when RoboCop shot that guy in the dick?" And I was like, I do remember when RoboCop shot that guy in the dick. So I tried. We were fucked up. It was a 2-box Twisted Tea night, and we were sitting around in the living room. We were all just like, huh. And I tried to send that to my boys here. And I sent that to my work group chat.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
And at like 11.
Yeah, it was like 11:30 p.m. And I locked my phone not thinking about it. And I get a text from my manager that says, BJ, what the fuck? And I was like, what? And I went and I checked. And it was in my work group chat with all these fucking housekeepers and shit that have no fucking idea. I was like, haha, LMAO, sorry guys.
Isn't RoboCop funny?
Yeah. And then he was like, why the fuck would you send that?
Well, man, that's when you screenshot, like, why the fuck would you send that? You just send it back to the work chat.
But in real life, I was like, oh no.
Dude, my work group sucks.
We were dying.
Oh my god, I almost pissed my pants.
I forget the exact moment, but I think BJ literally like, fuck, oh no. And we're like, what? He's like, oh fuck. And like, when he explained the bit, because you explained it like detailed, where like, so I saw this meme, right, and I was gonna send it to you guys, and I think you showed us the meme. We're like, oh, funny. And he goes, dude, I sent it to my work group chat, and me and Matt started losing it.
I couldn't breathe.
That's so
I was
funny.
laughing so hard. Like if I was, like the thought of me, like if I was on a group chat with like a bunch of project managers and other things, and I just said, remember
the time Robocop shot this dude in the dick?
But they would all be like, my group chat is like, ¿Qué pasó? What?
Well, now you know they're not cool.
Oh my god!
They outed themselves.
But
Dude, I was
it
telling.
makes sense because I'm their longest tenured employee now.
Oh shit, dude! I was telling Matt today.
Who's laughing now?
Like, not enough people know about or have seen the Battlestar Galactica remake.
I conflated it with Stargate.
I have not, no.
Oh my god.
Okay. I haven't seen either of these, Battlestar or Stargate.
I watched some SG-1 when I was a kid.
The Battlestar Galactica remake, I think it got started in like 2003. For a long time, this is just like a sci-fi channel, like TV series, like drama in space, whatever.
It's the same thing
This
with
has been
Stargate.
called like one of the greatest shows in television. Like bar all of like television history. And like I don't know, one of my favorite things about it is like they do a good job like setting up the tension. Like the first episode is called 33 because all of humankind has been wiped out by robots, by their own creations, the Cylons. And in the first episode, there's only 9,000 humans left. They're all living on ships in space. And they're getting attacked every 33 minutes by the Cylons. And this has been going on for like almost a month or some shit. And yeah, I don't know. If you haven't seen it, like, it's very hard to find online. But the Battlestar Galactica remake, especially if you like sci-fi.
No one have the rights to it? Like, is it one of those things where like...
I think the rights move around a lot. And it always ends up somewhere
it never
weird.
Actually gets put on like a streaming service,
or if it does,
like,
it's
you have to go like find it on
shit.
Tubi or some shit. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I bet Internet Archive.
Well, I was gonna say, I feel like because Amazon has a lot of fucking shit that like. Now,
I think you can rent it on Amazon, but I don't think you can watch it on Prime.
Yeah, well, like that's the thing is like there's so much shit on Amazon, like not Prime, but like you just whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That, like that's like my go-to. Like if I care enough. I'll find it there somewhere.
Dude, you really should watch it. It's just a great drama in general, and I think it's a show that brought a lot of people into sci-fi who weren't into it before, just because like the stories with the relationships with all the human characters were so good. Well, like the president of human history, like the president of all of mankind is just like this chick with breast cancer who's doing like crazy woo-woo drugs and having like religious revelations and like hallucinations and shit while like all of humanity is dying on a spaceship.
Sounds like Death Stranding.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little it kind of gets in that vein a little bit.
Dude.
Yeah. I remember like after Death Stranding came out, I was like, I like Kojima. But I'm not gonna play this fucking walking simulator.
Oh, dude!
And so I downloaded a 12-hour video of just the cutscenes, just to understand like what was going on in that game.
That's what I did. I watched a 9.5-hour like playthrough and was like, I've played the game.
I tried to play it. I played the shit out of it for a good while, and I was doing like the side missions and shit, and it just fucking sucks. And then you get to the first fight with Mads Mikkelsen, and you're in like the trenches of World War II, and you're running around doing actual gun combat that you never fucking get to do in the game.
Oh yeah.
Even though it's perfectly written as code. Like it is the best boss fight in gaming history, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, go back to walking across the country."
Well,
I fucking dropped it.
Well, isn't part did you play it? Was it the definitive edition?
Yes.
Well, isn't part of the, I guess, in-lore reason as to why you can't, because if people die, then their body implodes.
Also
and
that's
some
fucking
shit.
gay.
I also love too that there are like Kojima heads who just actually did get super into that game, like it's a Metal Gear Solid 3 or 5, and they just play the fuck out of it and do the fuck out of the bus building.
Metal Gear.
He told us the other day he
I haven't played Rising.
I definitely drunk asked him on Saturday.
You definitely need to play Metal Gear Rising.
Yeah.
Well, because you're into like DMC.
Yeah, I really
Don't
like
bring that up.
Oh,
DMC.
you would.
Oh, Devil May Cry. I'm just saying.
No, I'm saying
The
I will-
problem is
I will
there's
come to
no
that.
follow up to it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I guess the follow-up was 5, right? Or no, was it Rising?
No,
5
no.
came first?
Metal Gear Rising is the last thing in the timeline,
chronologically, yeah.
and they
Chronologically.
set it up for Raiden being just like
The new
for hire
protagonist, yeah.
mercenary. After that, and
That's
they're like,
also here's the thing that's the
They even
most
set up
what
a
was
insane.
new
the zombie
conflict.
base building game that came
That's
out?
Metal Gear
Gear
5.
No,
Survive.
Survive.
But that's from
Survive.
5.
From
though.
5.
it is it
Built
takes
on the bones
the
of
very
5.
beginning of 5, and they're like, "What if that was a game and it sucked dick, and you had to pay for like save
And
profiles?
the zombies have road signs for heads. Or
Yeah.
whatever
Well,
the
it
fuck
literally
is.
was like you play as one guy who gets sucked up into a wormhole in the beginning of Metal Gear 5, and then you're like stuck there.
That's
Yeah,
so
they're
strange.
like, fucking original
The
mother
thing
base
that
got
I
destroyed.
always can't get over. The thing I always can't get over in Rising is that like Raiden will like pick up a like 50-ton mech and like toss it over him, and then meanwhile he's just fighting other people.
Well, he's fighting other cyborgs mostly.
But he's cutting those motherfuckers in half.
Yeah.
That's true, but I just like I'm doing normal things with my blade, and then I
But it's-
pick up a Metal Gear and go yeet.
It's all about the vibration
Nanomachines, son.
technology.
That's right.
Nanomachines. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what that's
That's
from.
from that, yeah. Well, that's the thing.
Nanomachine.
That's the thing is every like boss fight is against another cyborg who can also do that.
Yeah, they have the same level of technology
Yeah.
as you. Not
Yeah,
just
that's
these
how the
regular
power
PMCs.
scaling works, Matt.
Okay,
Come on,
okay,
fuck.
okay. I remember the first time I played, which we
And
still
also, fuck you.
which we haven't released that playthrough.
We haven't released any playthroughs. What are you talking
We
about?
have like
True.
3 or 4
We have like
playthroughs.
9 of these shits ready. Pajama Sam can come out today.
Pajama Sam could come out today. I want to
But
play
it's not
other.
going to.
I want to play the other Pajama Sam games
Pajama
because
Sam-
that's like an hour and a half.
Any of those-
max.
Any of those, I would be down to play.
Freddy the
We-
Fish.
we need-
Putt
no.
Putt.
Putt Putt.
If we play another
Spy
one,
Fox.
Dude, I love mini golf games. Mini golf games are like my shit.
There was one on the PSP
Like on
that
Miniclip?
I really fucked with.
Did you play with the web browser like Miniclip website? Did you play any web games?
Yeah, I got down on like some Newgrounds games,
Yeah.
CartoonNetwork.com
Yeah.
Okay,
games.
Thing 2.
Thing 2? No.
You're not a real one.
Dude, there was one.
Not, dude.
I found this the other day on YouTube because I guess it got recommended, but it was a Cartoon Network Flash game, like called like Cartoon Network Island Resort, and you had to go through and like help all the Cartoon Network characters in various moments.
Was it a top-down, like Zelda-looking ass
Kinda.
game?
Yeah,
I think I
it had
played
this really shitty like tropical theme, like and you're just like very loud steps, like everywhere time your character walks, it was like just like.
Dude,
constantly-
who played the Kids Next Door Diablo clone?
What?
Me. I did that and the one where it was like that.
No, I did like what's the ones from the cereal boxes? That's all the like sports games.
Yeah, like the backyard baseball.
Oh,
shit.
backyard baseball.
dude.
Yes, backyard football.
I did a lot of point and click shit.
Really.
Yeah.
Did anyone? There was 2 games that I had on my computer as a kid. One was the Chex Mix Doom clone. Which was a
Dude,
thing.
Chex Man.
Yeah, Chex Man.
That
or whatever,
game
yeah.
was my shit.
That was
dude.
really. You had like a. Was it a fucking remote that like? I forget
Yeah,
what it was.
and
yeah.
they were like booger monsters. Yeah,
And
dude.
that I had that, and then the Buzz Lightyear animated series video game.
What?
Where it was basically just like a.
Oh,
was
dude,
it like,
the Buzz Lightyear anime series was peak.
a great game.
It was.
Great show. But the game was like almost like a. Was it an endless runner? I forget how it fucking played. But you basically like ran through levels. You're shooting people with your arm cannon, and like there were you had to like catch up to basically catch up to the bad guy, get to the end level, and then you fight them in a boss fight. And I remember just being like, I beat the first level, the second level, and I could never get past the third one.
We
That
need
shit-
to play Pepsi Man on the channel.
Yeah.
Because Sonic Adventure 2 absolutely ripped
Or
off
the
Pepsi
Burger
Man.
King games.
Yeah, the Burger, like the 360 ones?
Yeah.
The Snake King,
Yeah.
the cart one.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah,
one
the
other one.
Bumper car
Well,
one.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
We
But
used to
we
sell those at
there's
GameStop
the
for like
thing
30
that I
cents.
was saying about all the plays game let's plays that we've done is in the Metal Gear one that Luke makes a really racy joke. Remember that one?
I make a really racy joke
You're
in Pajama
talking
Sam
about-
too.
Pajama Sam 2. We
Nope.
didn't do
Yeah, remember the fucking
Hold on, yeah,
piano?
yeah. But I'm thinking about Metal Gear.
Oh,
That-
the fucking Nazi thing?
yeah.
That's not a racial joke. He's a fucking pedophile joke.
Yeah, but it was something about like Jewish porn, and I was like,
oh right, yeah.
Nice. I still just remember right at the end we were talking about the doctor putting a clit on his testicles.
yeah, the testiclet.
Testiclet.
Yeah, the testiclet.
I didn't. I put a clit on your testicles.
Well, that's the thing is you guys are like, Luke,
testiclet.
you can't say that, but then you kept the bit going of the doctor's a sex deviant.
Yeah.
Then I started going, he watches Jewish porn because it makes him remember the Holocaust or some shit.
Yeah.
And
I do remember that now because we were both like, whoa.
yeah. But I remember editing it and with Ezra in the Discord, and he thought it was fucking funny.
Well, that's the thing.
But that's also Ezra.
I found through our Let's Play stuff, I will push the line. And you'll both go, whoa, that's fucked up. But then you realize, well, Luke pushed it this far.
So that's the thing. On Let's Plays, like, that's the only time I'm like that is in Let's Plays for some reason.
That's true. On the podcast, BJ's...
On the podcast, I'll say the N-word out loud.
We were playing Pajama Sam, and one of this piano had like a fucking like Bing Cosby like voice, and it was like I started doing the voice. I'm like, hey, or something.
And then me and Matt were like, you can't say that. You can't. Stop.
Yeah,
Dude, Lee told me afterwards because we streamed it on Discord. Lee was like, dude, Luke, what the hell?
That's awesome.
Because all of us were like,
well, what's funny, I didn't say anything. Yeah, I didn't. I just was like, her, and y'all were like, stop. I didn't even get to say a joke. I just made the deep voice, and they were both like,
Fat
stop
Albert
it.
voice.
I just did a deep voice. So I don't know what the problem
God.
was. They were both like, stop it now before you say anything worse.
Arthritis is probably still my favorite memory from
because it broke me.
It broke us all.
I laughed so hard
we
that
were like 2 a.m. at that point.
It was like that thing where you laugh so hard that you have a headache.
Yeah.
And so I had to lie down.
Dude, no, because then we kept playing after that. We were all so tired because we're like, I have no more energy to do this. I forget we were doing it was the Rouge racing bit.
We finished the Dark Story, but it was the Rouge racing part.
And I forget what the bit was, but I said arthritis instead of whatever the actual fucking
I was
word
like,
is.
yeah, that's when you watch too much Arthur. And then Matt went, the kids show?
We all lost our shit. Oh, it was so good. Yeah, dude. That was that one, and then the it was some of the best shit.
I remember us laughing super fucking hard, and then me like hitting a thing and going off the edge, and then us all stop laughing and go, no,
because we got mad. Because I think didn't you already lose it once?
Yeah, because it's fucking bullshit.
And,
The whole game's bullshit.
It's not good kart racing at all.
And then when you beat it, they go, hey, you've unlocked. You can do more races. You're like, no,
I'm never doing that again.
Oh, the fucking the Let's Plays is some of the funniest shit. I still want to do a Disco Elysium.
It is true because we normally be
Disco
like,
Elysium.
He's never played
Elysium.
That game is fucking.
I want Matt to be the one to do it and make all the choices.
If you had
because
fun
when
playing
Matt
Baldur's
doesn't
Gate
play-
3, or if you play Rogue Trader and like it, and those sorts of top-down CCRPGs are like your bag.
And I'd like it. Disco
Dude,
Elysium.
Disco Elysium.
I think
So
is
Disco
bad.
you have
Elysium-
it bought.
Yeah,
Then because I keep seeing it in the Steam library.
That would be a great one to do because that one is heavy
So
on hearing
what
people react.
style game is it?
It's
a top-down like choice-making RPG.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's not really any
RPG.
combat.
You're a schizophrenic, alcoholic, like piece of shit detective.
Yeah.
With amnesia.
With amnesia.
So what's the movie we just watched? Memento.
What?
Not Memento. The one where he's the guy that's trying to. It's the forwards and backwards.
Oh, the Nolan movie.
Yeah, the Nolan movie. Is that Memento? Yeah, Memento.
Probably. I don't remember the title.
Yeah. So you're a piece of shit cop with amnesia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is,
that's the setup.
It's the same as Baldur's Gate, where like there's some choices where it will straight up go roll a dice, and if you fail it, it is some of the most unhinged, like fucking hilarious shit. Like there's one that got me.
So like save scumming.
Well, no.
You don't want to save
you
scum in
don't.
that game.
It's
It's better
no.
when you fucking fail.
Because
dude.
if you fail, there was one where like you have to roll to not be racist, and if you fail it, all your options are the most vile racist things you're gonna say to a guy, and you have to pick one. The schizophrenic narrator goes, "Hey man, This is what you have to say.
This is what you wanted to do.
Yeah, it's like you wanted to do this, and I think there's one option that goes, I can't say that, and he goes, you've made your bed, lie in it, and you have to.
Yeah, and then it just reverts to like the racist shit.
Yeah, it goes back to the racist shit where it goes, and you keep trying to go. No, I'm not saying that. And it goes, we'll be here all day, and like you have to say one. It gets so funny, where there were times playing disco where I like stared at my like decisions. I'm like,
when was this game made?
2017, I think.
The definitive or
so
the full
Xbox
edition.
One, like PlayStation 4.
Yeah, like that era, but it started on PC. I think
it was Steam exclusive for the longest time, and then I think the definitive edition or whatever the full edition came out on everything.
I will say it's been pretty cool now being a PC gamer to see games that like come out on PC that then have later dropped on console instead.
A lot of that happens with indie stuff
instead of the other way around.
Well, it's funny because that used to be kind of a lot more relevant for a while until I feel like because in the 360 there were a lot of PC games, specifically like shooters and stuff. They came to Xbox and PS3, but then Xbox One and PS4 switched it where now everything is being made for console and being put on PC, like Batman Arkham.
But now there's a lot of stuff that's being made on Steam, that's made for Steam, that it gets raving reviews and then gets ported to console.
Doki Doki Literature Club, they had to figure out a way to charge for that game. So
wasn't it
would play it on consoles?
Wasn't it free?
Yeah, it was free originally, and then they made like the definitive edition
where they added a bunch of shit. They're like, all right, well here's like other versions
because they had to charge for it.
Yeah,
I don't
because like they were coming out with physical copies.
Yeah,
so like for Switch and PS4,
because you can't just say, here, give it to me for free. Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, because that fucks up the precedent that Horse Armor set up.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oblivion baby. Set out Oblivion. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion was one of the first instances of a single player game with like microtransactions, because you could spend like $1 or $2 for horse armor for your horse. That was
$5, and I remember being so pissed about that back in the day, and I think back now and I'm like, shit, dude, I pay $5 for horse armor. I'd do it in a heartbeat.
The thing is, like, we've gotten so used to it, where like I've probably spent more money on,
especially with like battle passes that are like
Unite, where outfits are $40 fucking.
But battle passes are like $20 always to get the season pass. $20. So you're like, okay, if you want anything from a season pass live service game, it's gonna be $20.
Look at like Fortnite. To get a skin is like minimum $10.
It's true.
Yeah, like minimum. And then if you want the full pack,
anything that's like licensed, it's gonna be $20-$30.
Yeah,
that's why Helldivers doesn't feel egregious, because they brought it back to like, you can get $3 helmet.
You can earn the currency
in missions.
If you're doing all like the missions and shit, you can just pick up currency and not have to pay a dime.
I remember the first time I saw a set of armor on there that I really wanted. And I was like, oh shit, how much is it going to cost me? And then I looked up in the corner and I was like, oh, I already have enough currency for the helmet.
It is really cool after they did the whole like reworking their game to buff systems, to then like playing it again and being like, wow, this game feels like this game is fun now.
Yeah, after they actually... Did you see that there's another... It's a way smaller controversy, but like apparently they're like taking people off the Discord if they talk about the game mechanics too much, because people are trying to be like, oh, like, because they do not want you to like have metas. They don't want the game to have a meta. They just want you to pick shit that's fun.
That's why
move
buffing
on.
everything.
But the first couple of updates were all about like, oh, this is the new meta. The thing that was the last,
because they kept nerfing things.
Because they kept nerfing the cool shit when not single player, but it's not a competitive game. So nerfing
I will
and shit
say
shouldn't be a
like
thing.
the most recent 5 years, Helldivers 2 is the most game that I've returned to. That's crazy in my mind. Just couldn't think of what we were just talking about.
What was it? Is it
because I literally played like 2 days ago with Avery. Like it's such an easy
Avery
thing.
is still on my mind because of that fucking interaction that we had.
I told Ezra and he was like, "That's such an Avery thing to do."
I'm just gonna tell the story right now while Cody's in the bathroom. We went to Avery's new house. He bought a new house.
Nice.
It was just him and the boys there, and showed up, and then Kyle came over and he wanted like a hug, and I was like went to shake his hand, and then Avery was like, "No, we hug here." I was like, "Okay," so I hugged everybody. That was the time that I met Cody, And then
when we showed up to Avery's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I hugged Avery, and I was like, I like your little overalls. And he was like, yeah, I'm a painter. I was like, oh, that's cool. I didn't know that. And then, he gives us the tour and everything, and then we were leaving, and he hugs me again, and he goes, BJ, I'm a painter. And I was like, I found that out recently.
I just met Avery right before that happened.
Avery's such a sweet guy.
I'd never met Avery. I just knew Lee and Ezra from high school, so I'd never met anyone in the Discord prior to coming back.
It was just Lee and Ezra from high school?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because
that's crazy, because that's the only two that we knew at first as well.
Yeah.
Well,
because Kyle and Avery were in the same class.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know through a weird circumstance of other people that live here, I know somebody that went to school with him.
Funny.
Or with Avery and Kyle. So, yeah.
It's been a good one. Chris Chan sigh.
I want everything
about my house off the internet.
That was so funny when like the Sonichu stuff, when I was showing them Chris Chan the Sonichu stuff, and Cody went, he's the guy that created Sonichu. I go, yes.
Yeah, dude, I did not know that was the Sonichu creator.
Dude,
that kind of blew my mind.
That documentary series.
I know I couldn't even get through a whole episode with them. I was like, dude, if you just
I watched it multiple times.
It's like 47 episodes now.
It's 60 episodes, and part 1 just finished.
Wow.
What's you said, was it Gamer from Mars, or who is it? Who's interviewing
Gamer
Christian?
from Mars posted a picture the other day of him on a couch, and Chris Chan is on the other side of the couch.
Oh no.
Dude,
can't wait.
That's going to be the dude.
Oh boy.
Cuz again, my thing is, up until what recently happened, I was like, poor kid.
Yeah, I felt really bad for him. 100%.
It was like, poor kid, like clearly going through a lot of stuff, was bullied. And again, I still.
But if you watch the documentary, you can see the seeds. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
I mean, again,
of what? What did he do?
He fucked his mother.
His dementia-ridden. Man, that's so weird and bad.
Yeah,
the dementia-ridden, can't say no mother. Yeah,
can't do no.
Well, then it wasn't. Never mind.
There's also videos of him like pointing the camera at her, where she's like, "Hello, please help us pay our mortgage," and he's like holding up a piece of paper for her to read off of.
Oh god!
He's like, "Say thank you," and she doesn't even know. Like, she can't even say thank you.
Then he tries like 3 times, like, "Say thank you."
Say thank you, mother.
And she just goes,
Where's the Meat Canyon Chris Chan video? That's what we need, dude. That's gonna be
his Papa Meat videos are so good,
dude.
Yeah, no, they're like legit, like Papa Meat. And then I've seen a couple, because you keep telling me to watch Creepcast. Seen a couple of those.
What's the one? Meat Canyon.
Meat Canyon and
Meat Canyon and Wendigoon.
Yeah,
who makes some great videos.
What's the one?
Wendigoon's.
Oh fuck! I saw a clip recently that had me dying because Wendigoon pretty much was like, what were they fucking? They were talking about some horror video that I guess a fan made, and Meat Canyon was going off and just being like obnoxious about it, and then Wendigo was like, "Hey now," like basically being like the disappointed dad, and it literally just devolved into Meat Canyon going, "No, I don't wanna," and Wendigo literally having to just be like, "You have a wife." Like, like, can you stop acting like a child?
I do love when he does those videos where they're like, where he talks about people online that are like fuck you, and he's like, I'm not saying I'm better. Like, look at me, I'm a piece of shit.
Yeah. That, I think that's why he's like been able to skate by with a lot of the like fucked up humor and shit. Like, besides Warner Brothers copywriting the Bugs Bunny video, which means it's canon. Everything else he's been able to
kind of do. I can't wait for so much stuff to come out of copyright. Like,
dude, Popeye came out last year or this year, I think.
Steamboat Mickey.
Steamboat Willie.
Mickey is now, I think, right? Because Steamboat Willie was first.
Yeah,
and now Mickey Mouse is.
Yeah, classic Mickey with the red shorts is now along with Popeye, and I think like maybe even Betty Boop. Or we're coming up on Betty Boop.
Betty Boop's coming up in like 2 years, I think.
I think the next
Winnie
5
is done with.
Anybody
can make Winnie the Pooh.
In the next 10, isn't Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
gonna be crazy.
That's not gonna happen. We don't know how it's not going to happen yet, but the legal team at Warner Brothers will figure out a way.
They'll let Wonder Woman go because they don't give a fuck. But Batman, they're going to claw.
Yeah,
somebody's
the
gonna
Bob
make
Kane
like,
estate
this
or
is
whatever.
a new Batman concept, and they're gonna be like, no, this is from this fucking Elseworld story. That's what it's gonna turn into.
That's the thing, yeah. Like, because pretty much you have to make classic. Before he had the no-kill rule, he used guns, whatever, Batman, or they're gonna go, actually, you're copying our Gotham by Gaslight comic that we released in 2005.
OG anime stuff has to be coming up too, like Astro Boy, Gigantor,
Yeah,
like
probably.
Cyborg 009,
Godzilla.
Yeah, a lot of that shit has to be coming up.
That's Osamu Tezuka, all his stuff. Yeah.
Is Japanese copyright laws same as ours? Like, is it the same shit where they will go public, or is it?
I don't know. Does
different?
it matter if we're in America?
Well, I mean,
I could make an Astro Boy thing tomorrow.
To be fair, yeah, but like, I want, yeah.
Real quick, Osamu Tezuka, the guy that did like Astro Boy and all that, his Phoenix series, that is my favorite graphic novel of all time. Are those Phoenix books? If you haven't read them,
Have you read All You Need Is Kill?
Fucking great. It is the inspiration for Edge of Tomorrow. The
Live, Die, Repeat.
Sick.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah! I watched that within the last year and was like, "How did I not watch this? This shit is
it's
so
a
good."
2-volume manga, and the manga is peak.
It is honestly, it's legitimately.
I can see how that came from a
It's
manga.
legitimately one of the coolest like live action adaptations of a thing where they're like, "Hey, we're gonna follow roughly the same shit, but we are gonna kind of do our own spin on it," and it didn't feel disrespectful or whatever.
I'm
else.
thinking of the right thing. That's the thing with Tom Cruise where
And
he
he
keeps
keeps
waking
dying,
up after
yes.
dying. Yeah,
Live, Die,
yeah,
Repeat.
yeah.
It-
Fucking so good.
Dude,
So good.
So good.
I love that the Japanese version of that movie is just called All You Need Is Kill. They were very much like, this is what that is. And people in Japan fucking love that.
Dude, I love that. I watched that movie and thought, wow, man, what a good original sci-fi concept. That's the first time in a while Hollywood's fed me anything I liked original.
Nope,
I'm like,
it's
came from a good
Japanese.
manga. Okay.
It came from the fucking creator of Death Note, baby.
At least I know my taste is consistent. That's fucking super cool.
Yeah.
I love Death
to
Note.
be-
in high
to be
school.
Seriously,
fair-
you can buy it all as one volume. Just sit
Okay.
down and read it one night.
I'm gonna look that
wasn't
up.
Pacific Rim an original IP? I mean, based on shit, obviously, but like, there was nothing previous to that. Where it
That
was
was really the first like American mech thing that really took
cool.
And
off.
Pacific
true.
Rim was tight.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched the new one.
I didn't
but
watch.
I like the original
There was an
one.
anime, right, that came out.
Yeah,
I didn't watch that either.
Wasn't it Michael B. Jordan?
That's
Yes.
cool if it
Yeah.
was. I didn't see that. I didn't watch the sequel with John Boyega, but I heard it was just kind of an action film at that point. Which
I think they did some things really well, but then there are also things that they didn't do well. Like, what was really cool about the first movie is, especially being a guy that's very into big robots and full Gundam lore, is in the first movie they did a really good job of making things like slow and feel big, even though it's like essentially the protagonists of the film are big robots. So it's like when you see them, it looks like, you know, it's in the scale of two humans fighting in an ocean.
I mean, the whole
but
whole
when-
premise is that you have to be able to link mentally.
But in the
that's
second
just Darling in
movie,
the
second
Franxx.
movie, everything's way
less sexual.
faster. Where it doesn't feel like big robots. It just
They're just-
fe-
they're
it
just running
feels
around
like
like a
you're
regular
watching
person,
a
yeah.
Power Rangers episode where they go, "Oh, we're just
Yeah,
it's
the
just-
Megazord's kicking a guy at full speed.
Yeah.
to be
through a
fair,
city.
the Megazords also move slower than
But
like
you get
the
what I'm
pa-
saying,
yeah.
though. It's like the
The
scale.
Sega Genesis Power Rangers fighting game did that perfectly, I think.
Speaking of Power Rangers, the Power Rangers comics go really hard. Has
Also,
anyone
the
read
first
Power
the
Rangers
grid-
comics?
the live
Dude.
action movie was not bad.
I fucked with it.
I
The
agree.
last
I wish
live
they
action movie was
continued it.
really good.
Yeah.
I genuinely was like, damn, this could have been a really like. I think I only didn't like the suit style, but like, okay, I can get
Rest
over
in
that.
peace, Tommy. By the way.
Yeah,
Yeah,
RIP.
never got to appear, never even got cast.
which sucks. Dude, well that's the thing. Speaking of that, at least he got to do like anytime they did anything with like the speaking of the comics, the Lord Draken shit. They got him
Yes.
back to do voices and live action
Dude,
cameos.
and the little live action teaser,
Yeah.
that was fucking
He's
so
the
sick.
Power Ranger.
He is the Power Ranger.
because he actually just gave a shit. He was like apparently super nice at cons. He liked. He
Oh
liked
yeah,
that
he was the Mark Hamill of the Power Ranger
like
universe.
he liked
Yeah.
that he was a Power Ranger. Whereas like a lot of these actors will just stop caring. 'cause
Yeah,
like,
they'll
that
go
was,
on to do like guy on guy porn.
yeah, you know.
Is that really
or,
a
you,
thing?
or you've got
The
the
Blue Ranger from Mighty Morphin.
Gay porn star.
Went on to be a male porn star.
See, I always thought it was the red one, but
It might have been the red one.
There was, I forget which red one it was, but who killed his roommate with a katana.
What?
That's fucking crazy.
Which, again, on accident.
Do you think, hold on, do you think
he's like, I used to be the Red Ranger, right? Let me show you some moves here real quick.
Do you think
that's
before
what
he
happened.
did it?
And apparently, someone walked into the room.
Yeah, hold on, I was gonna say, before he did it, he went like this, grabbed his belt, and went.
It's Morphin time.
It's Morphin time. And then he just stabbed him again and again.
Oh no!
Trying to watch original Power Rangers makes me hate that fucking guitar riff.
Because it's overused in every fucking episode.
At least 3 times an episode.
Well, the thing is, like, I like original Power Rangers for the time period it's in. I'm like, damn, I could be flashbacked to.
I did. I was gonna wonder if you were gonna look over or notice that I accidentally stroked your leg.
You stroked my leg and then you tapped it like, I'm here.
It's like, see, hi.
What you gonna do about it?
Have you seen the Isekai where it's just the Red Ranger?
You were telling us
mentioned
about
this
this.
to us.
I thought you were talking about Go Loser Ranger.
No, dude. It's
So
literally.
is it an Isekai where a red Sentai Ranger gets sent to another world?
Yes,
Cool.
and he full send takes a Zord with him. He's able to morph. He when he strikes a pose after morphing, there's an explosion. Whenever he hits an enemy into something,
is it like
they
a fantasy
explode.
Isekai with like?
Yeah, and they're full send like, what is this unhinged power you have? I don't understand anything about it. Is it magic? What the fuck? And he just kicks ass.
Can you imagine being like a knight who's trained valiantly your whole life, and this dude in spandex who poses and shit, and you're like, what the fuck? Explosions go behind him, and you're like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah,
what's
in
going
one
on?
punch, he just like One Punch Man's the fucking Demon King you've been fighting against for 13 years. You should watch it. You'll like it.
Fights a fucking dragon and like a Megazord. He just does it. And you're like, huh?
Yeah, and then he goes, by the way, it's fueled by friendship, so give me a hug, brother.
That's the best thing about current Isekai is it's all parody, pretty much. So it's all just like, oh, this guy was a chef and he's gonna come to the new world and body slam the princess.
Isekai is like 90s kids porn, because it's literally just like grab 2 toys from your toy box and go, what if they hung out and did stuff?
Yeah,
That's true.
I'm from what you've said and from what other people are saying, it seems we're moving past the just needlessly edgy self-insert isekais into like, fuck it, what if he turned into a fucking spider?
Yeah.
What if Thanos fought Spider-Man? That would be cool.
It's like, fuck it. What if you turn into a vending machine in the Niska? And I'm like, what the fuck? What? Why?
What if I was a spider?
Yeah, like it's some shit like that where I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'd much rather have that than the needlessly edgy, like, I was bullied my whole life, and now I have a harem of bitches, and all the people who bully me are gonna die. And I'm like, that's boring.
No, I just want to see what would happen if the Red Ranger fought a bunch of goblins. Like that's so tight.
The Suicide Squad Isekai was just like, fuck it. Suicide Squad goes to this thing. Peacemaker's a fucking crazy person. In that
and then
show.
it's actually good. And you're like, what the fuck? This is what I've been waiting for Isekai to do, dude.
The peak is that time I got reincarnated as Yamcha. I wish they would animate that.
Dude.
That'd be
that time I got
Who's Yamcha?
reincarnated as a C-level
Yamcha's
character.
The guy that you always see get memed that has like long hair, but he's wearing the same gi as Goku.
And he's sitting in a crater just in fetal position.
Yeah, if you've seen any of the memes, he's the one in the crater in the fetal position because he got beat to fuck.
It's like, what if you were in a shonen where you and your boys trained really hard to go fight the bad guy, but you're not the main character who beats him. You're the guy who trains really hard to show up and like get hit in the mouth and then fight that one lieutenant really hard for an episode.
Yeah,
but you'll get the sick ass fight between a lieutenant, but then immediately gets overshadowed by the world-ending catastrophe fight that happens.
Yeah, you're like
you.
Abarai Renji or something.
Yeah.
You know.
What were we saying?
In the Isekai, it's a guy that has read the manga and like plays Dokkan Battle religiously. So he gets hit by a truck. And then he wakes up as Yamcha, and he's like, "Oh fuck, Bulma's my waifu. I need to make sure that she doesn't marry Vegeta. I need to be like training way harder than everybody." It's hilarious.
It's funny.
Wait, that's a real thing?
Yes.
What?
It's written by the guy that did That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. It's only a couple of chapters, but it's great.
Does he
awesome.
get Bulma, or does he still get cucked by Vegeta?
No, he kills Vegeta when he comes to Earth because he's far stronger
He's
than
like,
Goku.
Krillin, give me that sword.
Yeah, he's like, I know what power level I need to be at to beat these guys.
I've read all the Toriyama interviews. I've watched all the OVAs. I know exactly what number I need.
That's exactly what it is.
Can you imagine that universe? Yamcha getting Super Saiyan God before anybody else because he trained hard enough?
Yeah, forget that. He's like, dude, I know where Boo is. We're gonna nuke that.
Yeah,
We're gonna
he just stops the Boo saga.
Right away.
Pours uranium
he
into the
stops
soil.
Cell before he can show up. Yeah.
I think that's the last biggest problem that he has to deal with is like the Cell saga. Because he's like, okay, well, the androids spawned over here. I'm going to go over there and take out their capsules before they can do anything.
Oh my God,
and then
that's perfect.
The big bad turns out to be his like best friend who was #1 on the Dokkan charts, who got reincarnated as the guy that explodes himself.
Chaozu.
Chaozu.
That's
so it's
hilarious.
Yamcha versus Chaozu is the final battle.
Dude, that is the fanfic no one asked for. That's amazing.
Like, there's not any copyright about this?
Well, no, it was official.
It was officially Shonen Jump publicated.
They thought they were like, hey,
Toriyama would absolutely greenlight that,
Oh my
dude.
God.
No, have you seen so Dragon Ball Daima? Apparently there was one joke in that show that was a Toriyama joke, and it was Vegeta fighting the bad guy, and he's like, fuck this, I'm gonna be the bad guy and whatever, and Bulma yells, if you don't come back here right now,
I won't take baths with you.
I will never take a bath with you again. Immediately Vegeta gets right back on the ground.
Yeah, if you don't let these other guys fight them,
I will never take baths together again.
That's the best characterization from Vegeta.
Immediately is back on the ground.
And he goes, okay, you guys, your turn.
He's sitting there like arms crossed. He goes, you can do it.
Because since Battle of Gods, they've been like, we need more for Vegeta. Make him the my wife guy.
Yeah.
My wife.
Well, to be fair, that's the thing is like, yeah, like people like apparently there were some people who were like, dude, Vegeta wouldn't do that. I'm like, bro, Vegeta almost like tore the earth up because Beerus smacked his wife.
Yeah, Vegeta loves his family more than Goku does.
Dude, Vegeta stans are eating in the 20s, dude.
Facts.
I mean,
he finally got Super Saiyan 3, only for Super Saiyan 4 to immediately become canon with Goku.
I mean, you had to know that was gonna happen, though. It's like, dude, Vegeta's getting a level up. Sounds like Goku needs a level up.
Next episode.
Well, I'm hungry.
I'm also drunk.
Well, so you.
Well, thank you for watching this episode of SideQuest Podcast. Like and subscribe.
Oh, I was gonna say the same thing. Yeah, we're on the same page. I was gonna say
Cody,
like and
do you have
subscribe.
anything you want to plug?
Yeah.
I just started watching anime again after spending all of 2024 in Warhammer 40k. And Zenshu has been the isekai that I like currently. So you should check Zenshu out if you haven't watched it.
Right.
I'll ask after the pod if you have some more isekai recommendations. I think I want to try to get into some. The problem is that everyone I try to get into besides Overlord and ReZero, I've just been like, I hate these.
Well, despite how I sound, I actually tend to hate isekai. So finding some that I like has been pretty cool.
Because I just tend to like, I see the isekai tag, I'm just not gonna watch it.
Yep.
Like Overlord I fuck with because the lore is so fucking deep. Because apparently the author wrote a D&D campaign that nobody fucking showed up to, and he said, well, I'm gonna use it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And wrote a novel series.
I didn't realize that. That's awesome.
And I'm like, cool. So yeah. So what'd you call it?
Zenshu. Zenshu.
Well,
check it out, yeah.
As always,
take it sleazy.